All right, this should be good to go. How's everyone doing? I don't know how many people are going to be in the stream. It's the break week for One Piece, so there's really not that much to talk about, but I at least like to have some contact with the boys once a week if I can. And I'm not really doing anything right now, and I don't particularly feel like playing video games, at least for the time being. So here we are. What's up, Memento? Rainin, as used to be called. And what's up, Yorich? I see Young in the chat. Got my flavored water. What's up, Kenya? Scans might be dropped early, Dritz. Oh yeah, I think I heard some rumor about there being an early chapter. We'll see. I don't know when they're gonna be dropped. If they're early, then Wednesday, Tuesday might be probably Wednesday. It's usually 2 days before the real release, and I think the real release is supposed to be next Friday, if I'm right. Give me change for a quarter. Actually, at work, I have like 100. I think I have like 100 pennies at work, just chilling in my drawer. So I could if I was at work. Yo, what's up, Trav? How have I been doing today? I mean, I haven't really done much at all today. I'm just kind of chilling. Went out for a walk, ate some food. I was watching Mauler's critique of episode 5 of Game of Thrones. So all in all, a good day. I was just thinking about what I wanted to do. I have some video ideas lined up for next week. Well, like not tomorrow next week, but the week after that. Um, this upcoming week, Monday through Friday, is my last week of work at where I'm working right now. And I gave myself 1 week off after that. So I'll have the weekend and then Monday through Friday, then Saturday and Sunday before I begin my new job. So I figured I would spend that time making some videos because I've definitely had a shortage in videos as of recently. So I plan on pumping out some of those. I just have to decide which big ones because I'm probably gonna do a few small videos. But I'm just deciding which big ones I want to pump out. What's up, Zarkon? Yo, what's up, Christian? I'm chilling, dude. Christian, how was your day? Have I heard about Batman versus Luffy in the anime Dritz? Yes, I've heard many things. I've been tagged many times on Twitter regarding the Batman versus Luffy stuff. Now, which is kind of ironic because people are upset about this, but when I was making points in the Udon prison concerning the lack of or Oda's unwillingness to show the progress of certain characters as they've come so far in the series, people were saying that I was nitpicking, but now that it's in the anime and it's against, Batman, all of a sudden it's an issue. So it's just something curious to point out. Can I talk about Batman? Yeah, sure. What do you guys want me to talk about concerning Batman? Almost at the end of Words of Radiance. The end of Words of Radiance is really, really good. Oh, Sage. Hey, what's good, bro? Sounds like you've got some stuff on your plate, but glad you're back in the content. Well, I mean, I haven't really done any actual videos in quite some time, Sage, so I'm kind of like debating on what I want to do because I have these two major videos that I want to put out, but they're so comprehensive that they're totally going to zap the energy out of me after I make them. So I have it's part of a defecation video planned, where it is part defecation, and the other part of it is something that I promised Brago that I would make heading into my period of inactiveness in the community in the week to week process. Basically, me dropping reviews for the upcoming future, and that would be the video entitled "Falling in and Out of Love with One Piece." I plan on trying to combine that with a defecation video, but that would be very comprehensive. And the other one is obviously a Luna video. So I'm not sure which one's more important to me. So I get to think about that. Nami's love for me is a plot device. Sorry, bro. I mean, You're not incorrect. I think Batman should stronger than Luffy. He could be. Does you know how I feel about all this? I know, Yak. We've talked quite a bit about this. Whereas Snickers was actually just in the room, but she was starting to like she was sleeping for the past 3 hours, but she was starting to get starting to act up essentially. And I love having Snickers on stream, but she will she will not shut up if I get her in the room. So maybe a little bit later. Let's see, Memento says, I have a lot of hard work to do this weekend to beat my deadline. I won't sleep much, but I'm going to do my best to finish my project soon. Then I will begin my YouTube channel. Best of luck, Memento. Let me know how it works out for you. I'm absorbing the Edge and putting it in my comics. Edge always works, man. How do you think your comics have done so far, Christian, in terms of you being satisfied with them? Dustin doesn't love One Piece anymore. Yeah, I kind of figured that. Congrats on the job. Thank you. Oh my god, I'm all in on both videos, my dude. Yeah, I kind of figured. Yeah, motivation issues. That's kind of like a defining feature of most people's life is just finding the right motivation. I never really have a lot of motivation, so yeah. I see. That's fair. Honestly, I'm happy as fuck to be awake during a stream. What time is it over there for the European peeps? Is it in? It should be like late at night, right? Like in the AMs. Doesn't stop loving One Piece because it didn't go how he expected it to go. I definitely think that's part of it because Dustin was all in on Luffy 1v1ing Big Mom and Whole Cake Island. But I can't help but think that part of it is how what happened when Dustin got alienated from the One Piece community. Once you kind of get shunned from all of the content creators, I think he just went all in on his persona, and that the divide between the community and him severed his love for One Piece. And you'd be surprised, at least in the community, I feel like a lot of people undervalue their attachment to the community and confuse that with the love of the series as well. I feel as though a lot of people would not like One Piece nearly as much if there weren't so many awesome people to talk to about it. Shits, I finished all of Berserk and it is definitely my favorite manga of all time. You have good taste, Thick Neck Sama. Ah, I'm really glad you liked it, Nate Savage. If you wouldn't mind telling me what were the things that made it your favorite, because I want to know if they're the same things that made it my favorite. Fritz, I started my last year of high school. Last year of high school, it's kind of a big year at the end of it. Although I think my last year of high school, I basically just slept in class most of the time and fucked off. But it's a big deal whenever you're younger because whenever you're younger, you think that's the beginning of your life as an adult when it's not really. If you go to college, it's basically just you high school for 4 more years and then you start life. But what are your plans after your senior year, Nick? I'm happy with them. It's good that people are reading it now. Hey, there we go, getting validation, Christian. It's always nice. 20, it's 12:20, 12:20. That's like 7 hours, right? Yeah. It's what happened to that big raging fire in Wano. Who put it out? The plot, obviously. As I predicted, Morgan's that became a non-factor that was just there for the sake of being there. Does he think we'll get another Berserk chapter this month? I think we would have heard something about it by now if we were, so I don't think so. Do I think Big Mom and Kaido are both going down this arc? Well, I think Kaido's going down this arc for sure. Big Mom is like an asterisk. At the same time, I would absolutely hate for Big Mom to be dragged to a third consecutive arc as a plot device. Um, but it's a possibility. Although I think that Big Mom's involvement now, to me, indicates more of her being defeated than anything else, which is kind of weird. I don't know how it's going to be oriented towards Luffy's dream. Wano right now is kind of just like on like 3 legs instead of 4, where it's like kind of tilting in one way or the other. Hard to say. But if Wano is supposed to be bigger than Marineford and it's not looking like it's going to be anywhere close to Marineford with the things that are currently going on, um, having two Yonkos go down instead of one might be the way to do it. I feel bad at how Dustin got treated. Brago's bad for what he did. How so? What was bad that Brago did? What's up, Heavy? Neck Lord, have you seen Mr. Morge's video on Hokage Island, the long analysis one? I just saw you around in Brago's stream you did in the past, and I found you both had great differing perspectives. Oh wow, you are quite. That was like what, a year and a half ago at this point, Lone Espada? Maybe more than that. Yeah, I've watched Morge's video. Dritz, will you quit reading One Piece? I'm too far in and invested into the story to actually quit reading One Piece. But my overall opinion of the series is being affected heavily by the current events of the series. And this is like one of my greatest fears is that I think One Piece, and for me, it's leaning towards this right now. I think One Piece was going from a series that I considered could have been an all-time, like one of, arguably the best manga ever, is slowly slowly devolving into an average one. It seems to be following the trend that all of its predecessors and forefathers fell into before it, which I do not want. I can't, like, I've spent, what, how many years in the community now? A little over 3.5 years in the community. There is no way that I'm going to drop reading One Piece because of how invested I am in the series. Is Pedro's name going to get brought up during the meeting? Probably not. What were your thoughts about the latest Berserk chapter? I missed the stream. Underwhelming overall. I think that the ending of the last Berserk chapter was good. But overall, as a chapter, I think that the entire fandom for Berserk should have expected and should have received much better than what they got. And I think I might make a review or like a discussion video talking about it during the week that I have off, because I've seen people basically just been wanking it from my perspective, because I've been watching some videos and I feel like the writing aspect of it people are kind of like ignoring. Is there anything they can do with the Big Mom that y'all would like to happen, or is all outcomes have downsides? Well, I don't really know what all outcomes were going to be, but I would say that in the concept of two Yonko falling, it has a negative feature to it from Luffy's perspective, because the only way to logically do it kind of undermines Luffy's goal to become Pirate King and like his journey to beat all of the Yonko. If Kaido and Big Mom both go down this arc, we know for a fact that Luffy isn't actually beating them. The story is. And it's kind of disappointing from my perspective. I kind of mentioned this in my last stream, but it's regrettable that, Big Mom and Kaido aren't going to get like an arc centered really around them. They're getting a combined one. I mean, it's whatever, it is what it is, but and I think that it would have been fine if Wano had more planning put into it. But from my perspective, it feels like Wano was not planned to the degree that I would have expected it to. Is college harder than high school? And if yes, is it by a lot? No, not really. I don't think college is that much harder than high school. In my perspective, depends on your major and depends on the school you're going to. If you're going to like, an Ivy League school, then yeah, expect college to be much harder. But if you're going to an average state college or even like, a community college or regional campus, don't expect much difference. The biggest obstacle will be yourself, because for like the first time ever, your parents aren't going to be waking you up every morning to go to class and you'll have responsibilities to do the work outside of, just these menial things. Just the character writing in Berserk is beyond superb. The plot advances smoothly, and Guts, Griffith, and Casca are all 10 out of 10 characters. Even the side characters are good, and the pacing is great. Agreed on all fronts. What's your opinion on Big Mom? I like her and don't think she deserves the hate she gets. My opinion on Big Mom is that I think that Big Mom is the joke of the Yonko, where I feel like there's been more effort put forth in maintaining the aura of what a Yonko is supposed to be for all the other Yonkos, except for the only woman there. Big Mom gets stomped upon by the plot and by Oda so much that it's making me like think that she's getting worse than Sanji does in this series. It is quite concerning. But yeah, I don't know. I think Big Mom is a character that has been heavily damaged. People will defend her for the sake of defending her, but if you compared, like, if you put Shanks in the situations that Big Mom's been put into, people would literally be like trying to drop the series if Shanks was put in the same situations that Big Mom was. How do you feel about the idea Kid will get revenge on Apu? Oh yeah, that's kind of like an older idea, Sage. It's been one that people have been holding on to, mostly Kid fans, because they want Kid to have an impact on the series. I mean, I suppose I would like it. I don't think Apu would really put up much of a fight against Kid, to be honest. But I would generally like it. I feel like it'd be a good way to flesh out Kid more if it wasn't off screened. If Apu gets off screen by Kid, then it's the same as it never happening. If there's no effort put into like a narrative between them. I would like that if there was some time spent on just Kid's side. Dritz, thoughts on Wano in general, and how is it summing up to be worse than Whole Cake Island? Oh, okay, so no problem. So my overall thoughts on Wano is that if you put context into what Wano is supposed to be for the series and take into consideration the scope of what we've received and the number of chapters, I think Wano is lining up to be the most overrated arc of all time within the One Piece fandom after it's done. And so far, writing-wise, it's the worst. On top of the context of what it's supposed to be, the stakes and where we're at in the series, I think that it's easily the worst arc. 40 rubles from Mecha. 1 Nami, 2 Boa, 3 Robin, 4 Vivi, 5 Nojiko, 6 Viola. Respect for Nojiko. Do I believe in the theory that Apu is controlling the numbers? What, through like music or something? Yes, I believe Drake has been partnered up with Koshiro for the longest, I'd say sometime after he joined Kaido's crew. Why do you think Koshiro? BDV? Luffy needs Watman to carry Moana. Batman is apparently commander level. Unrelated, but who's the NBA GOAT? That's actually a good question because I feel like you'll find different answers everywhere. The most common answer is MJ for obvious reasons, but I would debate that you could argue LeBron as the GOAT. But probably Michael Jordan for now. I'd probably have Michael 1, LeBron 2. Have I seen the newest episode of One Piece? I have not. Dritz, can you explain why you think Oda is sexist? By the way, I agree that he is. So whenever I put my agenda, as they call it, for Oda being sexist, people misconstrue this, what they think sexism actually means in the series. The females in One Piece largely do not contribute to the plot at all outside of being maidens that need to be saved, and they have no utility outside of the fact that they're women. And generally speaking, women are not harmed by men, nor do they have many useful things to do, and they aren't really utilized in the plot that well. And this goes along with the fact that they're all kind of the same character. I can get by the fact that Oda likes to draw all of the One Piece women exactly the same. You know, Miura isn't someone that has a particularly amazing body type difference drawn in Berserk. I can mean that One Piece women look all the same, but the thing that exaggerates it is that they all are basically the same character because they do the same things and they act almost the same way. Even down to their personality, they're very, very similar. One Piece women aren't allowed to fight. They're not allowed to do anything major in the plot. They're not allowed to have their own dreams and have time focused on having those dreams. And they're always saved by big, strong men. It's very, very cavalier and very old aged. Part of it has to do with the fact that Japan, culture wise, it's always been an issue regarding women. But in a world where there is a magic system of devil fruits that enables you to have basically any ability in the series, and there is hockey, you would think that there would be more women at the top that are allowed to fight, basically. But there's not. Most women that do fight are either really, really old and ugly. You know, there's been a lot of ugly, fat women in One Piece that get memed for being fat, you know, or being ugly or being old. A lot of the attractive women are basically just kind of just like, save me, and then they get shipped with someone. Jitsu, yeah, my boy. Yo, Lothar, what's up, man? It's been a while. Sage said, yeah, I agree. I'm hoping we see Kid do something big, something meaningful to Kid as a character that isn't just a helpful event for the Strats and Luffy. Now you're speaking my language. Worse than the Foxy arc? Oh, yeah, for sure. So far. Thoughts on each of the Straw Hats' important ones in Wano? Could you redefine that question, Prince? What do you mean by, like, what do I think? What do I think of the Straw Hats of what they've done so far in Wano, or what is like the underlying question to that question? What does LeBron have to do to pass MJ? In this current era, LeBron can literally do nothing to pass MJ. It's the passage of time that will help LeBron pass MJ, in my opinion, if anything, because you have the situation where everyone from the old era stands MJ and everyone from the new era stands LeBron, and you're only ever really going to find some real leeway between both generations whenever there's a new generation after this one that's past LeBron's era, and they're looking back at both eras and they're evaluating the people and the talent that they played against at the time. So I think time will be LeBron's greatest ally. Shaq was the best player ever during 2000 or 2002. I mean, that's the saying that goes with Shaq, is that he was the most dominant player in the history of the NBA for a short period of time. Let's see. Chris Richter says, one was the arc that made me seriously reconsider my involvement with the series. And for context, I've been watching and reading weekly since I was 8 years old. Wow, that's impressive. I'm 23, and it really made me hate the community. What specifically made you hate it, Chris? You wouldn't mind me asking. And Morgans is following up my question by saying, with him suddenly acting weird around Hawkins and with the Flying Six being well known for coming to his call due to the Queen. Oh, okay, I can see that idea. I can see that working out, yeah. Drit's best girl is Nojiko or Vivi. Oh, okay, that's high praise. Dritz, how do you feel about Nami's dream? It will probably just suddenly show up as her drawing after some arcs. Doesn't look like she's been putting forth any effort. Well, much like most of the Straw Hats, their dreams don't actually matter until it's convenient for the plot. They're one of the biggest flaws in One Piece is the characters. There's very, very little motivation for any of the characters and very little for them to do. I've kind of made this description before, but a lot of the One Piece characters are like the classed up paladins that you get in Fire Emblem at the beginning of the game that are supposed to help you, get past the hard levels because there's no work. They just one shot everything. Like every single Straw Hat came into the story at the top of their field and never had to learn anything. And even when they did learn something, it didn't really matter. Like it didn't change who they were before. Sanji was a god cook who could apparently cook every type of food despite the fact that he's lived his entire life in one section of the ocean, but he is capable of preparing every single type of food there is. It's like the antithesis of what like Gordon Ramsay did in his life, which is travel around the world, learning from natives about how to cook food correctly. Sanji just came as the god of food, and then over the time skip, he learned that food had more uses than just being food. It's supposed to be healthy, help people grow, and then that doesn't matter either. And then in Sanji's shining moment in Whole Cake Island, he wasn't even allowed to bake the cake by himself. He needed an entire team of people that were specialists in their field, along with Pudding, who was, a chocolate, god. He couldn't even like get his appropriate time to shine. He couldn't even learn anything, The all blue to him is essentially something that doesn't even matter because it's not something that's actually important to him whatsoever. Same with Nami. Nami's dream inherently has nothing really to do with the plot at all. And it could have been incorporated, and Nami's just like so geniusly talented that, she can do whatever, and it's fine. I mean, I guess like comparatively so, Nami's the person who has had to adapt the most with at least tackling weather. But as far as drawing maps, it's like what's the use of this, and why can't Nami like have an actual aspect of the story that's dedicated to her dream? It's weird. Do I like Berserk? Berserk is my favorite series. Do I think the pre-time skip is untouchable because it sets up for the major stuff and post and endgame stuff? No, I mean the pre-time skip is not untouchable. I mean, there are a lot of meh arcs in the pre-time skip, but there are a lot of good ones as well. Also, I missed a lot of questions, didn't I? Yo, Virgo, what's up, dude? Yo, what's up, Francisco? Christian said, in my comic, I have the power system so men and women are on the same level so they can fight. That's using your knocking, Christian. Although I would say that for the sake of not coming off as like a libertarian, there would be an advantage to having men and women have biological differences that just cannot be automatically overcome by some magic. Some of it can be for that, but having a difference in between sexes and having each other play and like actually use their brains to outmaneuver the other would be an interesting aspect of a fighting system. Dritz, what is your favorite moment in Berserk? Mine is when Griffith is reborn and Guts sees him and goes to attack, but stops because he realizes that protecting Casca is more important. That is a goat page. Goat page. What's up, Jim? Why do I think Oda's writing has been significantly lacking? Um, I don't think there's one singular answer that I can actually put forward to do that. I think it's a combination of many, many other things coalescing into one bigger problem. If you want, I could try to break those multiple issues down, but that's up to you. I'm getting into reading books. Any recommendations on a good book series? The Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson is my go-to recommendation. It's probably one of the greatest books of this generation. Don't you think One Piece has gotten too many critics since the post time skip? I mean, it's almost impossible to say whether or not it's too little or too much or just the right number because we're active members in the community. I would say since the post time skip, there have been more critics, but I feel like those critics have risen for a substantial reason that isn't just to blame for it being like quote unquote popular to do so. It's usually never just because of like, an arbitrary reason that critics arise. There's always some explanation for it. And by large, even like critics kind of only came into prominence like during my period of time on YouTube, as far as I'm aware. People have been upset with One Piece, but I feel like since everything's kind of boiling to a head now in the narrative, it makes sense to see more people outspoken about their ideas. And I don't think it's too much because the overarching opinion on One Piece is ridiculously positive. So it's not like it's actually affecting the series that much. How's the new job going? Just joined. I don't start it until the 23rd. Yo, what's up, Cody? How you doing, man? What got you into One Piece? I think the thing that got originally, I came from a background of Rurouni Kenshin and Inuyasha. The thing that made me continue watching One Piece was the introduction of Mihawk into the series. Because prior to that point in time, I mean, the beginning of One Piece, like the first couple arcs are kind of they would not do well in the current era of entertainment. And I also think that One Piece's first chapter would not do well if it was really re-released today because it has a very very big writing flaw in it. But it works in the older context of the generation because people aren't really going to focus on that too much now because the series is so long. But originally, it was the characters that got me into One Piece. I was heavily invested into Nami and Zoro, and I like the overall world building. So world building and character is usually it. Agreed, Sage. What are your top five manga drits? I don't really know. I know Berserk is at the top. I would probably have Tokyo Ghoul in there as well. Aside from that, it's like a showdown. I'm not sure. 40 rubles for Mecha again. You really should read Attack on Titan. It could take Berserk's spot. I've heard a lot of good things from Attack on Titan recently. I might have to pick it back up. Dritz, is this really Zoro's arc, or is that just something created by the fandom? It's created by the fandom, but I mean, so far, I mean, Zoro has had more involvement than any of the other Straw Hats that isn't named Luffy, but it's by no means his arc so far. It's Luffy's arc, and then People of Wano's. Christian says the main girl is more of a spellcaster, but she is equally as powerful as the guys, just in a different way. I says it should be. You should. It'd be cool if you explored like the strengths and weaknesses of that Christian, so that the people could learn from that. Is there too many mysteries in One Piece? There is a lot of them. Too many. I don't know if there's. I mean, maybe you could argue that, but I don't really know if there's like a way to actually evaluate if there's too many mysteries. Let's see. Joe Hammer says, I personally think Wano has great writing, but if you don't like it, that's fine. One Piece is not for everyone. Well, that's. I appreciate your comment, Joe, but that argument is not like a defense for the series. If you think something has great writing, then it's not for everybody. Like, it would be different if you said that I'm enjoying Wano, and it's fine if you aren't. One Piece isn't for everybody, but it's a different saying to bring in the quality of the writing, because that you can actually have a debate about. Someone's personal enjoyment is subjective, but and writing is subjective as well, but it's definitely more grounded in reality of what is good and what is bad. And I would say that the weakest part of Wano is the writing. I don't think there are that many upsides to Wano at this point in time. Can you say prayers to Katakuri? Isn't that a King of Lightning thing? Unfortunately for you, Cody, I do not like Katakuri, so I would not do prayers to him. What did I do in college? I worked. Well, I was an IT major, and I worked and I played video games. What's the writing flaw? The writing flaw in the beginning of One Piece is specifically oriented towards Chapter 1. Chapter 1 of One Piece starts off with a full-blown 40-page flashback of a character and ends up with Luffy going out into the world. Generally speaking, that is not a smart move to make when you're writing a story, because giving a flashback to a character we don't understand doesn't actually make you feel more attached to the character himself. That's why you'll often see flashbacks follow after you see a character where they currently are their point at where they are at the current point in time. The One Piece anime actually fixed that mistake, because you know that the Shanks flashback happens in like episode 3, and the first episode is Alvida, I do believe. But yeah, starting out with flashbacks when the character doesn't have any depth to him usually is not a good sign for writing. Very, very, very rarely works out. Just, dude, I want an update on life since I've been busy. I've lost track of what job you were in and how Snickers is. Did the army thing flop? Do you like what you're doing right now? Yeah, the army thing flopped because I have an anaphylactic reaction to peanuts, so I got disqualified. After that, I also got laid off from my mechanic job because of a disagreement between work ethics and morality. Then I found a help desk job for a virtual school where I served as the tier 1 help desk dude that helps parents and faculty out. I've been there for the past about 7 months now, and I just got a new job working for a military defense company, making about triple the wage I was making. So I finally got a good job. So Dritz, how do you feel about each of the Straw Hats' contributions and roles in the Wano arc so far? Well, the bigger question is, Princess, what are their contributions and roles so far? They basically haven't done anything. And I don't know if that's really debatable. Usopp's basically not a character. The only thing Usopp has done in 50 chapters of Wano has been pointing out, that girl's Toko. She's the daughter of Yasu. Literally the only thing he's done. And then he made a comic face. Robin's only valuable aspect to the plot was off-screened, and then she ran away, and now she has an arbitrary forced plot hole connection with Toko, and she hasn't done anything either. The two plot lines that she was lined up with didn't matter whatsoever to her. Nami has literally been only fan service. She was tagged along with Shinobu to like learn being a ninja, quote unquote, but that was actually just a gag in a meme and had no substance to it whatsoever and no payoff. Nami is just fan service at this point in time and is not connected to any of the characters within the arc. I mean, I could do that for basically all of the characters. Chopper is a walking plot device and contradiction whose sole purpose for the arc isn't really clearly defined yet, nor does he really have any connection with any of the characters in the plot. No motivation, nothing. Brook's only use in the entire arc so far has been to act as a gag ghost to scare some fodder, and to find Zoro and fill him in on the fact that Yasu got captured. That's literally the only thing Brook has done the entirety of the arc. Franky was an apprentice to a carpenter. Didn't learn anything because Franky, much like many of the other Straw Hats, already knows everything there is to know about building ships. And the Sunny didn't matter. He hasn't learned about that. Maybe he will in the future, and we'll get to see like Franky's actual reaction to the Sunny almost being destroyed. That would be something that was cool. But then Franky got introduced to the subplot where he was looking for the blueprints to Kaido's lair. And he had a gag where he ran around town asking people, and he didn't really get any lead on it. But then, what do you know? It belonged to Shutemaru the entire time, so that doesn't really actually matter, and nor does it affect Franky whatsoever. Franky then off screens for 2 days building a bunch of ships and fixing them, which is the same thing as doing nothing at all because it's not actually relevant to his character. And there's really nothing to learn from it. It's just a plot point that Franky needs to do because he's Franky and he builds ships. Yay. And if you want, I can continue, but I've already gone on for a while. It's already ahead of you. Also, there is a power that gives us more physical strength so women can compete with men. Oh, okay. All right. All right. But I think the numbers could be the creatures from the Florian Triangle. I don't think they're big enough. Like, Thriller Bark was huge, and those things were towering over Thriller Bark. Damn, not liking Katakuri is a sin, is it? That's what people tell me. I feel like Two-Face right now. Do you think Hunter x Hunter would have been so famous without the 2011 anime adaptation? No. I mean, when most people talk about Hunter x Hunter, they basically say it's the best anime of all time. So the anime significantly changed the legacy of the series. When do I start my new job? The 23rd. Gucci on my clothes. Friend. I can't say that word, Virgo. Oh yeah, when they wanted you to lie to a lady who needed help with her car and she almost died. Well, yeah, she had the possibility of dying. Yeah. Can you talk about the morality of the mechanic's job because I want to become an electrical engineer? So yeah, no problem, Nick. So basically, the moral of the story is I think I actually have a video up on this. So I worked for guys that I actually thought were okay people, but a lady came in with a new used car that she got from a car dealer that was affiliated with the mechanic shop that I was in. So they are business partners. And upon inspection, uh, we found out, not me, because I'm not like a car whiz. I was just like, I'd like change the oil occasionally and basically served as customer service. But we found out that the car was basically a walking death trap where all of the wires were hooked up wrong and it could basically like shut down and explode any minute. She didn't have any brake lights or anything. And it makes sense because she said she almost got ran into multiple times during the night. And they wanted us to well, basically, we told her about it, but my boss said that the next time someone comes in from that car dealership, even if there is a problem with the car and they could die, to not say anything to them and to let it go. and I had like an hour argument with him about the morality of that situation. And then the next day, they called me off of work. And for the next 2 weeks, they called me off of work until they stopped calling me. So, yeah. Am I two? Yeah, Two Face. There we go. I said, yeah, I'm Two Face. What up, bro? Yo, what's up, Julio? What are your thoughts on every Straw Hat getting a major fight in this arc? Do you think it's possible? I don't think it's actually feasible for every Straw Hat to get a major fight. There's already what I mean. If you count Jinbei, there's 10 Straw Hats, 10 major fights. That's a lot of screen time. With how many characters there are, I don't know if it's gonna be possible to do that. What do I think is going on with Jinbei? Honestly, I don't know because I would have assumed that either Jinbei got away or he was captured by Big Mom and hurt to some degree. But the big meme pirates memeing away on their ship doesn't really give the indication that Jinbei was brought along with them as a bargaining chip to use against Luffy, which is what I would have done if I was a villain, is I would capture someone to lure Luffy out into a situation where he would have to suffer for it. That would be the smart thing to do. But there's no indication that Jinbei has been there because they haven't talked about it and they're not really doing anything anyway. So I don't know. Jinbei might have actually gotten out and maybe he's with Germa right now, being like, maybe he did get hurt and Germa saved him. I don't know. How has the One Piece anime affected the series? I think the One Piece anime largely has increased the legacy of One Piece. I mean, that's kind of like the new popular trend on YouTube now. It was a long con because Enies Lobby and Marineford are like top tier arcs. So, and they were well done in the anime. So, I mean, One Piece anime kind of, if the One Piece didn't have an anime, its fan base would be nowhere near as large. Nowhere near. Anime always helps. So it helped One Piece greatly. Yo, thanks for dropping by, Phenomenon. How do I feel about Hunter x Hunter? Uh, I don't know. Like, I think Hunter x Hunter is actually a solid series, but something about it, and I've described this situation before, something about Togashi and me just don't really go well together. I just don't really like the way that he writes his story. And I think it's a good story too. It's just not for me. There are certain parts of it that I just like, it doesn't interest me much. But I would recommend Hunter x Hunter to basically everyone just to see if they would like it. It's just not for me. I'm gonna be disappointed to be honest. Jimmy isn't coming until Oda needs him at this point. Oh yeah, we'll say it's like the kind of thing. It's like I don't really know like Jimmy's like a big asterisk. I mean he'll show up eventually, but I don't know. It could be amazing. We don't know. Would you ever make a One Piece video about the things you like about it? Yep, because that's what the falling in and out of One Piece video is going to be about, is describing what got me into the series and describing what it was pushing me out. So yeah, that will eventually come to fruition. Which shonen do you think is the best? I'm not a shonen connoisseur. I haven't seen all shonen, so I couldn't actually even tell you. Dritz, have you noticed that we haven't seen use of hardening in a lot of the fights, clashes we've had in Wano, Queen versus Big Mom, Chidamar versus Jack, Supernovas, etc.? Yep, I have noticed that. I have noticed that. I noticed that because I've been complaining about it. Dritz, would you agree that the Naruto anime is much better than One Piece anime? Overall, yeah. I mean, the Naruto anime is, yeah. I don't think there's really much of a debate there. It just depends on what you like more. I think overall, the Naruto anime is more quality. Do I read Attack on Titan? No, I do not. I read Attack on Titan up until a certain point in the series, and then I kind of got bored of it. Um, and I've said this before, but like, and maybe my opinion will change if I go back and reread the series. But my biggest issue with Attack on Titan is that it's kind of like the Hunter x Hunter thing with me, where it was an aesthetic. I wasn't really invested into any of the characters, and I didn't really have many people that I clearly liked. Like I said this before, I thought Mikasa was hot and stuff, but the dynamic between her and Eren was just like, shallow and mediocre. And Armin's whatever. Levi is fine, I suppose. Erwin is dope. I actually like Erwin. That outside of that, I didn't. I don't know. It was whatever. I had a fascination. I had a fascination with the Titan mystery, and I felt like whenever the Titan mystery was solved, it kind of took away from the mystery of it all, and it made it more generic in a sense, where I was like, I wasn't completely satisfied with it. But I've heard that things have changed in Attack on Titan. So who knows? If I reread it, maybe I'll have a different opinion on it. Hey, just good to have you back. Are you keeping the stream up? Maybe. If I do the One Piece Best Girl edition, I'll probably cut out everything before and just keep that up. Do I think One Piece can really end in 5 years? I mean, at the rate Oda's going, no way. But it's more the intent that matters rather than the actual numbers. Who are my favorite character designs in One Piece? Mihawk, Robin pre-time skip whenever she was good, Nami pre-time skip whenever she was good. Chopper, I actually like Chopper's pre-time skip design. Rob Lucci, Crocodile, Ace, Shanks. I like a lot of the designs in the series, honestly. Pre-time skip and some post-time skip. Dris, do you need a bank account to make money online like on Amazon, or do I just need a PayPal because I have nothing? Uh, I think you can have everything be pooled into a PayPal, but after a certain period of time, I think it will disappear. I'm not entirely sure. Who are you invested in One Piece? Well, currently in One Piece, I'm not invested into a single character in the series. Mikasa is cute in the face, but not in the body, and I'm talking about her stomach. Oh, I disagree. I feel like Mikasa's that's the part that like mostly attracted me to Mikasa is dude, fit girls are hot as fuck. I don't care what anyone says. I love me some fit girls. Mikasa's abs were awesome. Dritz, how strong was Judge in retrospect now that we know he fought Snack and came out okay? Roughly around that level? Question mark. We don't know the context of what happened in the fight because it was off screened. So Judge could have held him off for a bit, got hurt, and then they got away, or he could have fought and beat him. So there's no conclusive evidence one way or the other. But I feel like Judge was is heavily underrated to begin with. Sage says it's not about how cool Jinbei's entrance is or how useful it is. It's about putting a straw hat on the back burner and focusing entirely elsewhere while they remain a mystery for however many years. Yeah, I can feel you there, Sage. I can feel you there. Dark King 360 says, "What are you holding out the most hope for in Wano? Like a law betrayal or Kid being the one to take down Kaido or something else?" Hope, huh? To be honest, the thing I cared about the most for a while was just the was before Tama became like a boring character, um was the relationship between Luffy, Ace, and Tama being confronted with the reality that, Luffy is Ace's brother, because I had thought that that should logically involve the crew because it's an aspect of the crew that's been completely missing in the series. And I feel like that would be a powerful moment, but I'm not sure how much it's going to matter anymore. But outside of that, the fights, whatever, whatever, push that aside. But yeah, that's part that I was most looking forward to. What is your favorite One Piece arc post time skip? I normally used to say Zoe, but I've recently changed my opinion to Dressrosa. Do I think there's a chance to see Katakuri and Wano? Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a chance. I don't know how big of a chance it is, but yeah, there's one. When do I think Dofi? What Dofi? I don't know. Would he even show up in Wano? How confident are you that Oda will end this arc in a satisfying way? Very low. Very low at this point in time. Fit girls are gross. What? Come on. It's how can I have a live one-on-one conversation with you? What do you want to talk about, Christian? 40 more rubles from my boy Mecca. Aaron is S 4 times plus tier character, greater than Guts. Watch the anime. Greater than Guts. That I have a very. I mean, I know where I left off in the series, and Aaron was like, okay, I was getting interested in him, but to be greater than Guts, that's quite the statement. I think Luffy can high diff Sanji in Gear Second and low diff Zoro in Gear Third because Gear Two literally has everything in Sanji's arsenal, and Zoro is a bit more durable than Sanji. Logically, I think that kind of makes sense, Prince. But the way if Oda was actually writing the series, it wouldn't pan out that way. Also, do you dislike Tai at all, Taekwon? I mean, I would be lying if I said that there weren't parts of Taekwon that I didn't like, but I also like Taekwon. It's a love-hate relationship. I will get into a call every time with Tai because I don't know, it's like for how much I argue with Tai and how much I think he sees things completely wrong objectively, I still like talking to the dude. He's a good guy. We just happen to be on opposite spectrums of thought. And that just because we disagree on things shouldn't mean that I should hate him. So I love Tai as a person, and I like talking to Tai, but I get frustrated just like everyone else. Who is stronger, Drake or Kyoshiro? That's like an ambiguous question. Probably Kyoshiro at this point. Do I think the Yonko alliance will become the catalyst to the whole Zoro and Luffy conflict? I no longer think that conflict's even going to be a thing. Um, there have been so many points in time that Oda could have slowly built up to it and have the characters interact, but at this point in time, if it was introduced, it would seem just like kind of forced now. The characters have already met each other multiple times and they don't care about each other, so they don't talk whatsoever. I don't know. If that actually happened, I would start to be interested again. But I do not think that's the way things are going to go based on what we've already seen. I want to talk about Katsushi. That's right. We still have to do that, Sage. Guess am I gonna get Are you gonna get Fire Emblem Three Houses? Maybe when I start making that bread, I'll get some Fire Emblem. Snickers was going crazy. Dritz needs to be an actual One Piece character. Oh my god. Am I gonna stream New Fire Emblem? I should, shouldn't I? That's some insane swag I got. I don't know about that. Is Snickers Yonka level easily? Yeah, Snickers like wanted to play but didn't want to play at the same time. So we had to get out the red light to get her to move. Uzumaki Khan is no longer on YouTube. Yeah, I saw that. It was crazy. Baby sweet fur, baby. Yeah, Snickers. She's playing right now. So otherwise, I would have brought her in, but I don't want to like bring her in while she's being played with by my roommates. So, also, was I asked anything crucial? Okay, no, we're good. How tall am I? 6'2" and a quarter. What are my thoughts on the recent chapter of Berserk? I answered this a bit ago, but I thought it was underwhelming. I think that it should have been much better given how much prep time Miura had. I think there are a lot of elements to it that were just basically stalling and blue balled. Um, it was still like okay, but I feel like that chapter should have been like one of the best in the series, and it was definitely not. That's how strong is armament Haki. Do you think elements like lava and fire can break through Haki defenses? Sure. I mean, yeah, I think it's like anything in real life, right? Even if you're wearing armor, if something is, hot enough, it should just burn you. So, theoretically, yeah, it should. Top 5 favorite shonen series. I don't know. 6'2", holy shit. You don't look like it, really? Well, I guess you guys don't get a good impression. Maybe I can. It doesn't look like I'm super tall based on my room, but it's also because I'm kind of chunky. You know, I'm a chunky guy. If I was skinny, I would look taller. But I'm a fatso, so. Also, Pharaoh, what's up, dude? You're 5'7". I think my dad's 5'8". Khan had to become a full-time worker, so he's had to quit. Khan didn't work full-time before, really? Khan's like an older man. I'm surprised he hasn't. That's interesting. In your opinion, how do you scale Boa in One Piece? My headcanon is around what people consider Luffy now, first commander level. I don't think there's an actual accurate way to like power scale Boa, but my impression of Boa is that I think she's weaker than Dofi, and I think Dofi is like at best third commander level. But I would want Boa to be like at least second commander level so that that joke of a character Smoothie isn't the strongest pretty female in the entire series. Because Jesus Christ. 5'7" bitch right here. Sage, for girls, that's actually considered pretty tall, isn't it? 5'7", that's a good solid height. Possible Wano live stream in the near future, like the Reverie one. If something important happens, yeah, but like, and I talked to Brago off stream about this, but the involvement of the fan base in Wano is like at an all-time low, outside of people debating whether or not Zoro's going to kill Kaido. There aren't that many videos being made from it. A lot of the prevalent YouTube people are just like not completely invested into it. Roger is 100% standing Hunter x Hunter right now and doing other series, and One Piece is like still like his thing. He does that, but because of like the him doing it whenever the chapters legally come out, he's kind of lost his interaction in the community. Tekking still does his videos, but they're not. I mean, Tekking's not like the go-to source of discussion. Brago's balling out on B-Day Law, but he's kind of like the main dude. Like Brago for me is like the main guy putting out real discussion material, but there isn't a whole lot of interaction as far as I can see with Wano. Not that many people are fucking with it in the terms of like, man, look at it's not like Whole Cake Island where there's like debates on it like every single week. There have been like more discussions on like the quality of Wano than there have been like plot points, really, because so many plot points have fallen through into disappointment that people are like, what's the point of even talking about it right now? Where's my shout out, Dritzy? What's up, Joker? You're 5'9". That's a solid height. But if your dad's 5'8", where'd you get your height? Other side of the family. My mom is 5 foot even, basically. My dad is 5'8". My brother is 6 foot, and I am 6'2" and a quarter. Although I went into my freshman year of high school 4'11", and I graduated high school, I think it was 5'11", and then I grew 3.5 inches after I graduated. My current height. But I have a couple uncles that are pretty tall. I love to consider Boa as up there with Rayleigh, like, on God, why not? I mean, it would be dope, but like, the thing is, like, I talked about this in a review I did for the blank chapter for One Piece, whereas like Blackbeard showed up and we got his bounty. But I really, really would like it if Boa got brought back into the series on a level outside of her being like a meme character that just goes Luffy Sama, Luffy Sama. Like I would greatly enjoy it if after the warlord system is abolished, Boa's identity as a former slave comes back to light, and even I would actually like it if Boa got captured again by the world government and she had to be saved. Something like that. Like even though like it's been done too much, but like explore like Boa's past trauma with men to some degree because that's literally the only thing you can do with Boa right now. Like that's the only character route available to her because she's not a main character. But I would like Boa to be just, more in the story. Just how do you feel about the Samurai of Wano? Underwhelming. Underwhelming. $4.11, yeah. What do I think of Morge and Kraft's Dwarf? Morge is my guy. Me and Morge see things from a completely opposite perspective, but I genuinely like Morge, and I think Morge likes me. I'd fuck with Morge any day. He's a good guy. Do I think Nami's dream of drawing a world map is achievable? End of story. Logically, no. There's no way to actually draw a map of the world with your own eyes unless you've been to every part. It would have to be mostly off-screened. Or she like finds someone else's map and finishes it. That's basically what we have available. It'd be different if Nami's dream was to chart the unexplored areas of the world. But it's not. Actually, I'll probably not chew gum. You probably hear me chomping on this like Brago's lips. We need resolution for Boa's potential sickness. If I make my Nami video, Sage, I actually have a direct solution for that. What's the worst part of Wano? The characters. By far. Thoughts on how Shanks' crew is so threatening even though we haven't seen Devil Fruits? Well, I mean, Garp was supposedly Roger's equal, right? Or close to it, and he doesn't have a Devil Fruit. The same logic applies. He's the dope ass fighter with awesome hockey. Who is the female vice admiral? Oh, I mean, Suru? The girl that has the laundry fruit? Rip my boy Hawkins. Yeah, man. I feel like Hawkins took a major dive down, just like went from like most competent person to off screen to now he's just like I couldn't do it. I'm a bitch. I'm sorry. Uh, Poor Hawkins, man. Do you think Ace should have been the main character? There's no like should have been the main character because none of it matters if the author's still the same. Like Oda wanted Luffy as the main protagonist. I would have liked other characters to be the main character. Like I would have liked Ace better as a character, as a main character. But it wouldn't have really worked out the same unless you that would be interesting if Ace was the main character and still died, That's a trendy trope, a trendy writing style is killing off your main character and having another main character assume that role. I'm actually kind of privy to that, but it doesn't really matter. Luffy could have been a lot better of a character despite what we've had. It just didn't want to do that. It's which Straw Hat has the least world-changing, public-recognizing dream? I'd say Nami and Usopp next. I mean, technically Usopp's because I mean at least world-changing and public recognizing. I mean, if Nami actually drew a map of the entire world, at least in the world we live in, Earth, maps are actually ridiculously influential and useful tools that we still use from previous cultures. So maps are pretty important. Usopp wanting to be brave doesn't affect anything as just a dream, unless he like goes out like Noland or something, But he hasn't done anything even close to Noland. But I don't know. It just depends on how their dreams end. Do I still like any of the Straw Hats? Not really. Not in Wano at least. I liked Nami for the first half of Whole Cake Island, and the latter half it was disappointing. Um, but in Wano there isn't a single Straw Hat that I like. No, I don't have an MAL account. Kool-Aid. Thoughts on Apu? I mean, like I had no expectations for Apu in this series whatsoever, so it kind of makes sense to me that he's just some goon working for Kaido. I don't think he was supposed to be super duper relevant to begin with. But the fact that he's a goon for Kaido means that you should not expect anything from him as a character. Where do you put Noland and Kalgara? They seem like monsters to me. Well, I'm sure that if Oda rewrote them, they would have hockey. But I kind of consider them under the same degree as like the old age monsters, where it's like, they're probably going to be, if like rewritten, comparable to Ryuma. Because like in one shot monsters, Ryuma was like beheading stuff with one slice. Nolan killed Nala's mom or whatever with one slice. They have applicable feats. Um, so they're probably all like in that same like era of discussion. You skipped my question. What was it? Where is Binks? Okay. Oh my God. Okay. I would love to see the Yonko outsmarted and defeated rather than being matched in power. We've yet to see the Straw Hats scheme as cunning pirates. What do you think, Dritz? They've been riding luck a lot. Yeah, but how would you implement that against characters that are that strong? I mean, this isn't like Game of Thrones where everyone's human and like if you fuck up mentally in your planning, then anyone can kill you. This is like in One Piece where these people are so strong they like actually can't be killed. So I don't even know how you would do outsmarting because it's like powers required to be able to even do anything against them. I don't know how you would write that. Because I don't know if I've asked you this or not, but do you think there's any chance that Usopp dies in Elbaf? And if so, do you think that would be a positive impact on the narrative? I don't think there's any chance Usopp dies on Elbaf. I know that's like an idea that people have been throwing around, but I don't really think it's going to go anywhere. But if in the argument that he did die on Elbaf, would it have a positive impact on the narrative? I mean, yeah, I mean the death of a main character is usually pretty big. It doesn't help that Usopp hasn't really been a character for the past like 8 years. But if he had an entire arc focused on him, that would be pretty cool. Thoughts on the Red Force podcast? I like Eric and Christian. Eric and Christian are good gents with good ideas and good commentary on the series, so I like them. Wish them success. The thing is, unless Nami is not looking for public recognition or cares about how it affects the world, then her dream of drawing a complete world map seems kind of empty. I mean, I feel like it'll be found regardless, but like I feel like the dream that has like one of the highest impacts on the series is theoretically is actually Sabo. I think Sabo's dream has the potential to have the greatest impact out of a lot of the other compared to a lot of the other dreams. But I mean, Sabo's not a character either, so. Am I invested into the traitor subplot? No, not really. Here's the thing. Like I said this before, Law is in my top 10 favorite characters, but unless there is significant amount of time spent on like developing and explaining the actual relationship between Law and Luffy, I don't know if I would actually give a fuck if he died. Because I mean, for how long the Law and the Straw Hats have been together, they don't really know each other that well. And they're not like friends. They're kind of more like they're working towards a common goal. I don't know. It's just I feel like there would be that dynamic would have to be explored to a greater depth of how they actually feel about each other as people and like have more interactions showing that. So like the traitor subplots like, is there any gags, One Piece gags you would like to see? Gags. There's nothing popping into my head right away. How would I rate Kingdom? Well, I've only read 442 chapters of Kingdom, but I think Kingdom is a very good series with competent and diverse female characters that actually affect the narrative. So it's doing a rare thing. Do you think any character is overrated or underrated in the community? I mean, the definition of overrated and underrated it changes depending upon everyone's personal likes, but I mean, there are certain characters that I dislike that I think are overrated heavily in the community. But that's like, whatever. Why do you say a character is not a character? Is it because they don't get enough screen time? Well, that's part of it, Choi. Another part of it is that they don't really have any impact on the series and they don't really have any personality. So every single Straw Hat is like a caricature of what an actual character would be because none of their dreams, ideologies, or personalities actually affect the narrative whatsoever. They're just kind of there to fill a role rather than be people. If you were a One Piece character, who would you be? Probably Mihawk, because Mihawk is like, he gave up on the world. That's like me. Kyokai is one of the best female manga characters. She's up there. I like Kyokai quite a bit. Godhawk. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fitting. I praise the Godhawk, but I mean, Mihawk didn't even give a shit about anything. He basically traveled the Grand Line, just like wasting his life away. His ambitions already filled. He thought life was basically meaningless, essentially. That's like me right now with One Piece. My dream is for characters to become characters and Oda to stop off-screening things. Whew. Just sailing on his boat, cutting up any hopeful hype. Yeah, that's like me. Like whenever like people like after they finish Marineford, they're like, "One Piece is the goat," and they're sailing into the New World. Like I'm just like sitting there waiting in Fishman Island, but I'm like Mihawk. I just kill them. Yo, thanks, gotcha. Oh man, the drag down. They are about to take on Kaido's crew, and they've done no research on their opponents, even though they should be famous pirates. Well, that's always been like the funny thing, where it's like some characters know who the characters are in the series, but most of them don't. It's like, which is actually kind of weird because like Luffy knew who Roger was. We don't know how, and we know that Luffy knew about the One Piece and the Pirate King, and he's heard about him. But it's like, which is actually kind of weird because Luffy's motivation to become Pirate King hasn't actually been explained because we don't actually know if like if Luffy learning about the Pirate King even ever changed anything in his life, or just like like when I was a kid, I wanted to be a wide receiver because I idolized Jerry Rice. But like I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, I don't know. Like this is something I thought about a while ago. I was talking to Yak about this. Um, as a whole in the community, people were more worried about Luffy fighting Crocodile than they are about Luffy fighting Kaido right now. And I think there's something wrong with that. Like, whenever Luffy lost a Crocodile, man, that had impact. That had some oomph, right? Like, Luffy at his lowest got absolutely shreked, seriously, seriously hurt, and is completely made to look like a joke by Crocodile. Compare that to Luffy losing to Kaido, and it's just like, meh. Brago is Shanks. Brago, yeah, Brago would be Shanks. Can you talk about the idea of the next Pirate King is the previous Pirate King's rival's grandson? Roger really screwed Garp over. I don't know about that. Nah, I guess so, like in a way, yeah, in a cosmic sort of way. But I don't know if he actually blames anyone about that. What about the issue of Sabo? What do you mean? That's because Crocodile's awesome. Yeah, Crocodile is a goatee. What do I think of the villain arc of My Hero? I have not read it. I have not read it. Man, he got one shot. What more do you want, man? I want it to actually matter. Like, it was not narratively impactful whenever Luffy got like destroyed by Kaido. One, because like it just happened, and it was like this most like it was like such a meh way for it to happen. There was like not much build up to it. It didn't actually really matter at all. Luffy didn't even really get hurt. Kaido's like, I just want to have strong people on my team, so I'll just like beat you just enough to like get you knocked out, and then like Luffy's still knocking out fodder with his unconscious conqueror's hockey. It just didn't really feel like impactful. It was much better against Crocodile because we had journeyed with Vivi all the way up from, before they even got to Whiskey Peak and shit like that, or in Whiskey Peak. So we got to know her character, her interactions with the Straw Hats. We got to learn about Crocodile, and we got to see the true power of Crocodile. And we got to see Luffy tell his crew to move on without him, and they were all worried about him because they didn't really actually know if Luffy could beat Crocodile, but they had faith in him anyway. And then, despite their faith, Luffy gets his shit wrecked in, pierced through the stomach with, basically, with the hook. Crocodile had a dope speech. And it was even better as like Luffy and Crocodile even saw things on the same level when they talked about how stupid Vivi was for believing in what she believed. And it was awesome. But Kaido is just, eh. Do I feel like Wano can be redeemed for me? Wano can. I don't even actually know at this point. Like, even if like every good thing that I could possibly imagine would could happen in Wano, like the ends don't always justify the means, and we have about 50 chapters of like. If the last like 30 chapters of an arc are great, but the arc is like 120 chapters long, and it took like 80 chapters of mid to get there, is it actually worth it though? See you, Sage. Yeah, Luffy lost, and right after the Strats didn't care. Yeah, the Strats didn't care. Whenever Luffy lost, and Usopp even heard word that Luffy was dead. I mean, he was fucking pissed off. He was like, no, that's never possible. Believe in Luffy. Blah 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 blah. He got mad. And what happens whenever Luffy loses to the biggest threat they've ever faced since their entire time together? And just makes stupid faces. And Zoro acts out of character by not even giving a fuck that his captain got completely bodied by a Yonko. And Zoro was not with the crew, so he didn't even know that the crew off screen came up with a plan to, like, quote unquote save Luffy, but they didn't even care anyway. Zoro's just fucking around gambling and then finds big face Yasu. Lame. Lame, lame, lame. This going up? Probably not. Probably not. Even in Alabasta, they broke down how Crocodile's crew operates. Yep. Yep. Chris, do you think Wano would have been better or at least fixed a bit if the prison scenes were cut down a bit or rewritten differently? Yeah, I mean, the prison scenes should have been completely rewritten. What's your opinion on the Thriller Bark arc? I feel like it gets disregarded because it preceded the Marineford arc, Marineford saga. Overall, Thriller Bark is a comedy arc, and it does its comedy job well. But comedy is almost never, ever better than arcs that actually focus on the narrative and story and include drama. Drama is almost always better than comedy, and people ranking what their favorite stuff is. Thriller Bark had a lackluster antagonist. Moria was not that good. at all. Um, it did what it did. Thriller Bark's okay, but it should be largely like there are so many other better arcs in One Piece. Thriller Bark had an amazing ending with Kuma and then the Straw Hats and Luffy and stuff. That was awesome, dope. That's the best part of it, but it doesn't make up for the rest of the arc. I mean, it's okay. Which do I like better, Whole Cake Island or Wano? So far, Whole Cake Island is better than Wano for me. Given what we've seen so far, like wow. Thriller Bark gets too much hate. I don't think Thriller Bark really gets much hate at all. Like it just doesn't get a lot of love. It's like Thriller Bark was solid, you know? Thriller Bark was fine. It's just not amazing. It is what it is. It's like a weird it's like a weird mediary between Water 7 and then like Sabaody. But Thriller Bark wasn't that long. I think Thriller Bark was only like 38, 36 chapters. You know? You should do an arc tier list. I could do that. Who are your top five favorite One Piece characters currently? Ace, Mihawk, Whitebeard, uh, Nami Shank, something like that. It's 60 chapters, is it? Damn. That's actually pretty long. Is it actually 60 chapters? That was shorter than that. One Piece, Thriller Bark. It's 48 chapters. We're both wrong. Ace is your favorite? Yeah, Ace is my favorite. Hell yeah. There's really no one else. Like, I mean, Whitebeard's a contender. Like, Mihawk and Whitebeard are contenders, but I mean, I love Ace. What's the best chapter on Wano for you? The only chapter that wasn't actually about Wano, 929 or around 928, the blank, where it basically recapped Reverie. Maybe it's Kaido's reveal, but it's one of those two. Dritz, what do you think about the end of the series ending well? I think everything related to the VC and Ancient Kingdom has been great, so Oda will handle that well. Well, it is a very, very rare, just looking at the statistics, it is a rarity for long running series to actually end in a satisfactory and good manner. Not many have been able to do it. It was in the middle. Yeah, it was in the middle. What do I think of Vinland Saga? I haven't read it, so I don't have an opinion on it. Dritz, stop roasting Wano? No. What's up, Dritz? Yo, what's up, Zach? How you been? What's your top five least favorite Wano chapters? Oh my god. I've like erased half of them out of my memory. It'd probably be the Big Mom and Queen chapter, Big Mom's amnesia chapter, the bathhouse chapter, um, something else. Just what arcs do you think we still need to experience before the series ends? I say Elbaf, the final island of the Grand Line, Raft of War. I mean, theoretically, we don't actually need that many. Elbaf was promised in the narrative, so we kind of need that, or else it'll just feel weird. But outside of that, you could basically end the series after Elbaf, and it basically would have kept all of your promises for the most part. So Elbaf's mandatory. After that, you can go right into Raftel and then end war if you really, really wanted to. It if Oda wasn't obsessed with having every arc last like 70 plus chapters now, we could get to more arcs. I feel like that's something that's being heavily undervalued by Oda right now is making arcs shorter and just having more of them. Because the pre-time skip did that a lot and it worked. Now every arc has to be this super massive, long, drawn out, convoluted plot line that usually doesn't end that well. But yeah. Answer my question, please. Okay, what'd you say, Christian? I did not see. God, how far do I have to go to find you, dude? Oh my god. Okay. Dritz, considering the end of Wano will conclude with the defeat of both Kaido and Big Mom, it's possible. Who do you think will be the main antagonist in Elbaf? Main antagonists? I don't know if there's an actual name for the person yet, because I don't think Loki's the actual main antagonist. I think he's going to be an aspect of the arc that's important for Usopp, but I don't think he's the main antagonist. I don't know who the main antagonist is going to be. Ask the important questions. When do you think Fox is going to come back in the story? I don't know, come back into the story. He'll probably like be at the end of the story. Dritz, how do you think that Stormlight should be adapted? I'm thinking just think anime is the best medium for it. Stormlight's so long. I don't know if there's any medium that would actually be able to adapt it well. Manga's probably the best, or yeah, I guess manga would be the best because of artistic value. I'd be interested to see Dritz do Attack on Titan reactions. Well, I mean, I could do Attack on Titan reactions. I mean, I know why I left off. I could do a reread up until the point where I left off and then do react to that in a stream or something. Do I think Frankie is underrated? No, not really. Frankie has never really been a fan favorite, and I think there's good reason for it. Frankie's just kind of there, dude, honestly. Yeah, I don't really think there's much to say about Frankie. Nipple lights, I guess. And, General Frankie. Nami gets captured by Galley, and Galley has to fist her cleavage to get the Viva cards. Yeah, I know, great, ha ha ha. When are you gonna do a One Piece neck tier list stream? Well, I would have to do like 300 characters. What do I think Moria did to get his crew wiped out? I mean, he probably just, I don't know. I don't know if that will ever be explained. Maybe he was just going along on his journey through the Grand Line and just ran into Kaido and got his ass beat. People who didn't like Frankie, they like Cuddy Flam. That's true. Cuddy Flam was all right. I mean, Frankie during Water 7 was a solid character, but he wasn't like amazing or anything, you know? He was okay. His flashback with Tom is solid. It's okay. Not amazing. It's okay. Frankie's just okay. Now he's not okay, but he was okay. Dritz, if you were in charge of writing Emu's backstory, what would you do? Oh man. See, the thing with Emu is that I don't think his backstory is actually that important. Like it's important, but it's not the priority that I would focus on with Emu if I were a writer. Because the backstory will come, but what's the most important part of Emu is getting him heavily involved as fast as possible into the plot and then have him interact with the characters in the world. A lot of the issues with a lot of these like god deity final villains in shonen is that they're basically not really relatable and they're just there to be defeated. Like, I'm bad guy for the sake of being bad. That's why most people want Blackbeard to be the final villain, because we have repertoire with him as a character. We know what his goals are, what he's willing to do. He's had interactions with Luffy. There's bad blood there over the course of the entire journey. You know, they have the same dream, same goal. Emu, it's like, if you wait until the final arc to do fucking anything with Emu, I just don't think it's going to end that well, because there's only so much you can do. It would just feel like he's just like, I'm bad because bad, defeat me, Pirate King. Oh, for my friends. And then Luffy will defeat him, but like he has to have a personality, you know? Get him involved with the characters. Like, if we're already like, let's say we're like 85% through the series right now, he's got to start getting involved with the characters. We got to start learning more about him, his personality, his goals, how he interacts with other people in the narrative, the world finding out about him. It's just like, wow. But if he's just like final bad guy because he's final bad guy and in charge of everything, I don't think he's really going to be up on many people's lists. You know? Do you think Luffy will ever get to fight against an antagonist where he doesn't get any help from anyone? Make a prediction of when you think Zoro will finally get a serious fight. Oh, the day that Luffy won't get any help. That should have been every arc before this arc. That's what it should have been. Like, I don't know, like, it's hard to say what would have worked better for One Piece, but something that should not happen a lot is like the constant undermining of a character's progress in the story to the point where he always needs help. He always needs to do it. He can never win by himself. He always needs help. I don't know, it's like, it's not that entertaining to always be the underdog, to be constantly undermined. It just makes the journey you've got to up this point in time feel like it's meaningless. Like, Luffy should have been like fine up until this point of time. He should have had hard fights, but he should have been able to win by himself in a manner that would allow him to grow. And then he'll need help with Kaido, and then maybe he like grows in a couple other fights, and then he could finally beat someone one on one, like a Yonko one on one. But with like all of this, constant Luffy sucks stuff, it's like, I don't know. It's a bad taste in my mouth. Wait till we get there. People will love him. Emu, I mean, people are going to like Emu, but in terms of like quality final villains, I just have my doubts based on like, if Emu is what everyone thinks Emu is, then for the archetype of character that he might be, it doesn't look that great to me. Um, but if he's different, then I could be wrong, and maybe it's for the better. But I don't know. These prophecy plot lines kind of usually follow like the same end game. We're working on an interesting Smoothie and Burgess video. Why they don't deserve the hate. Smoothie deserves all the hate and more. Definitively. Do I think Ryuma was the greatest swordsman of his time? I mean, the world was big back then, but there's basically like no one that lived. Like, the lore of One Piece isn't developed to the point, and nor should I believe it should be, to the point that like there always needs to be previous generations of this, that, or the other. I don't think that's even necessary whatsoever, but he probably was. Yeah. It's based on what we've seen from Luffy in the Power System of One Piece. Can you actually ever see Luffy at Yonko level? I mean, by necessity, it will have to happen, but I don't know. Like, it's a weird thing to say because I'm wondering if Oda will ever get to the point in time in the story where like Luffy will actually like be Yonko level in terms of like what the universe thinks about him. You know, he's constantly not getting like the day that Luffy is actually taken serious as like someone that like people want to defeat instead of this like he's just some kid, I don't care, blah blah blah, I'm an overconfident villain thing. It'll be nice to get to the day whenever Luffy actually is at the pinnacle and people see him as a legitimate threat instead of just, you know, some kid. But I think Zoro will fight Smoothie. I don't think so, no. I just watched Joy Boy's video about Nightmare, Luffy, and Wano, among other topics. It was well articulated like most GB videos, but I would profoundly be upset if Nightmare Luffy came back. How about you? Yes, if Nightmare Luffy came back, I would be absolutely furious. Personally, I would be absolutely furious. Have you seen Marco's theory on Momo being a strong samurai in Wano? Momo? Well, I mean, there's not that many strong samurai, so it's certainly possible, but what's like the idea behind it? Do I think Prime Sanji will be Yonko level? No, I don't think so. Maybe. He might be. But if it's like already hard enough to like correctly write Luffy to be Yonko level, I just don't understand how Sanji would ever be able to get to that point in time in the series without it being like even worse than what we're doing right now with Luffy. Yo, what's up, Montaga? Joker just absolutely raging. Do I think Kid is as strong as Luffy? I think he's up there. I think he should be near Luffy's strength. Should be. Because from what we've learned so far in the series, the time skip is completely useless. Why does hmm, why does Nightmare Luffy upset you? The reason why Nightmare Luffy upsets me is because if you're going up against the magnitude of a Yonko and your trick to beating him is a one-time plot device that puts you past the limits of what you're actually able to do, it doesn't feel like you've actually earned it. It feels like the plot was pushed into a direction where it's like I suck, I'm too weak, I can't do it myself. Please help me, Deus Ex Machina, and you will never be able to replicate it again. It does not feel earned. It's not an earned defeat for someone as important as a Yonko. they shouldn't go down to plot device, you know, Gear Force Nightmare Luffy. It just, oh, it just, I just don't like it, dude. Just you're dope. I don't share the same opinion as you most of the time, but I see where you're coming from at the same time. Well, that's very mature of you, Choi. I appreciate that. Oh, there's my feet, by the way. Jit's feet. The Yonkos will start seeing Luffy as a threat with his design. Does it make him look like a bobblehead doll? Why do you put Garp on the same level as Rayleigh and Sengoku if you think Garp's portrayal is much better than both of their portrayal? I think Garp's stronger than them. They're just on the same tier in their old age, in my opinion. You could argue Garp being stronger than them still. I think Garp was stronger than both of them. Yo, later, Alexander. Wait till Toki turns up and to be alive and uses her awakening to make a hyperbolic time chamber. Why does Oda hide her Odin and Green Bull's appearance? Why did he hide Kawamatsu's for so long? Well, Kawamatsu's didn't even need to be hidden. I don't. That was definitely hiding for like no reason. But dude, if there was like a hyperbolic time chamber, that's what made like defeating Aizen and Bleach just like Ichigo went into the hyperbolic time chamber and then came out and then beat his ass easily. Well, that's a really good way to end a fight you've been building up for multiple arcs. The socks. Do you think we should get time skips in between arcs where Luffy and the crew train instead of having other people fight for them? What if we get Nightmare, Ashura, Zoro versus Kaido fight? Why you gotta ruin my night, Zach? That's just awful. I mean, should there be time skips? Yeah, I think there should be. I don't think there's anything wrong with developing, like, actually having a patches of time. Patches of time is not a bad thing. A few years here and there, sure, why not? What's the difference? They're gonna look basically the same anyway. Fritz, what's your biggest fear with time travel in One Piece? My biggest fear with time travel in One Piece is that it's just going to be introduced as a novelty to make an arc interesting without actually affecting the larger scope of the series. Like, like you're thinking of cool ideas that put into an arc and you're just like, yeah, just put time travel in there. Time travel is so hard to do well. I don't know. It's like a weird thing. I just don't want it to be used as a plot device so that Luffy can defeat his enemy. Nightmare Luffy is better than Luffy 1v1 in Kaido with willpower. I mean, it's a lose-lose situation, but yeah, if you're going to take one over the other, then I guess Nightmare Luffy would be the way to go. What's your opinion on one of Luffy's abilities being able to attract people to him and lend him their strength as allies? Eh, I mean, it's okay. It would help better if Luffy was like a better character, but I mean, it's fine, I guess. Do I think the Rocks captain is someone we've already seen the story or someone who's yet to be revealed? I think it would be more fun to have it be someone who hasn't been revealed yet. Oh my god, Ichigo beating Aizen was awful. Yeah, that was bad. Especially as it wasn't the actual end of Bleach and Ichigo became a Shinigami again anyway. Never forget the new Bankai that was just instantly defeated and destroyed. Yeah. As I mean, Bleach is like oof. I see you're very negative in a lot of things. So what do you like about One Piece right now? Says Carlos. Well, I don't really like much about One Piece right now, Carlos. I like what One Piece was. As of right now, I'm just holding on to hope that things will get better, but I am not happy with One Piece whatsoever where it is currently. But people are asking me questions about things that are happening currently. I would gladly talk about the great things of One Piece if asked about them. But yeah, I do not like where One Piece is right now. What can Brook do for you to like him? It's not what Brook can like do. Like I don't particularly care about Brook, being some combative, monster. You guys know I'm more interested in character dynamics and actual characters. I like this is why I said this is why I think one of the things that like went wrong with Brook is that I think that Brook was out of character with his reaction to being separated from the crew during like that led up to the time skip. I think he was absolutely out of character with his reaction. Like that does not make any sense with what he had experienced at all. And I feel like it's from that point in time that Brook went from a character that I genuinely liked to something less than that. Intentionally, Brook went from like a real living person to a skeleton of what a person should be. I would just like it if Brook had real emotions, had real aspirations and dreams that got time to develop him as a character. Him coming back into the world and just exploring his dynamic between other characters, seeing a serious side to Brook that isn't just skull jokes. I mean, just Brook had so much potential. Brook had so much potential. It's a shame. Do you think Big Mom can seriously injure Kaido? Yeah, for sure. She's a Yonko. She's a Yonko. For sure. Any Yonko should be able to seriously hurt another Yonko. Last time you enjoyed One Piece? I liked Kaido's reveal. I was really, really hyped for that. I love that. I liked the blank chapter. That was cool. I like the idea of Tama and Ace being introduced, but I don't like where it's gone. Prior to that, I loved the Reverie. Reverie was awesome. Um, and I liked Nami and Luffy against the enraged army. That was great. That's Nami and the enraged army was, as I've said before, it's probably one of the highest highs that Nami has had in the entire series. Is Nami's interactions with Luffy during the enraged army. That was amazing. I don't like where that went either because, Nami made a separation between herself and Sanji and it was completely ignored for the sake of the plot. None of it really mattered, and now we're here in Wano with nothing really mattering. But yeah, I like that. That was dope. Zoe was fine. I liked Zoe. I agree that Luffy's charisma should be a bit more intentional, but I do really like that Luffy draws people to him and can really rely on them to win. I mean, yeah, Luffy's charming to a certain degree. I just wish that there was spent more time on Luffy as a character rather than just, what we have currently. Why do you dislike post-time skip Luffy but like pre-time skip Luffy even though they are pretty much the same? So you've tackled the crux of the situation, is that Luffy in the post-time skip should not be the same as he was in the pre-time skip. Luffy had reason to act the way he acted in the pre-time skip, but after traumatizing and catastrophic events to himself, none of it mattered. Luffy is just the same, if not worse, than he was before, and he doesn't learn. He doesn't feel like a real person or a real character anymore. That's my opinion on Luffy. Doesn't really feel like he's actually growing and learning stuff. It doesn't really feel like he's going through an adventure and just becoming a different person. Feels fake. What'd you do if you're being chased by Hawk and Strawman? I mean, I'm dead, but if you put Prime Garp on the same level as Prime Whitebeard, then shouldn't Old Garp be slightly stronger than Old Sick Whitebeard? I don't know. You can make that debate. You can actually make that debate. I just don't know. It's like we haven't really seen Garp do that much. Based on portrayal, though, he's got it. Well, I don't know if he'd be slightly stronger than old Sick Whitebeard. I think he might be as strong as Whitebeard, but yeah. What type of character should Luffy have become after the time skip? It's not like the core of Luffy's character should change. It's that he should learn from his mistakes and things should matter to him more. His priorities should change. The time skip, what happened at Saba Odi, everything, all of that should kind of affect Luffy in a subconscious way that makes him want to get better. And none of it ever did. None of it did. Nothing really matters to Luffy. And I feel like it was a great opportunity to make Luffy actually become like a really great fleshed out character. But it was skipped. Who do I think is more trash, Hody or Span? Oh, Hody. Hody's trash. Hody. Garp greater than Sengoku? I think they're close. I think, as I said before, I think Sengoku was like the rival to Whitebeard from a ring perspective. Adrian, do you think if in theory it's possible that the whole Fire Festival and all the events that happen during the fight are off-screened? There's no way. There is no way. I don't think that's even a possibility. There's no way the entire Fire Festival can get off-screened. I don't think so. Which Straw Hats do you like post time skip? I The least worst is Nami. Nami's had Nami's the least worst, I think. Choose the straw that has the better character development? Better. Character development. Like, better character development. Uh, I want to say it's like Nami or Robin, with a third being Usopp. One of them. Usopp, Nami, Robin. I would probably say if I had to eliminate. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know who would be the winner out of those. I want to say it's between Nami and Usopp. Thoughts on Douglas Bullet? I mean, he's a beast apparently. I haven't seen the movie, but um, Bullet as a character is fine. I just don't like the idea of him. What about Sanji? Well, Sanji hasn't had character development, so there's. I mean, he doesn't really get. He doesn't really apply. Is there any hope for the future of One Piece, or do you think it's irredeemable at this point? I don't think it's irredeemable. I think One Piece can be saved, but in the process of saving it, I think that's it will be like the equivalent of like Luffy getting his scar from Kaido. There will be a massive hit to the legacy. It would be like LeBron losing the 2011 finals against the Mavs, except like have that happen like three finals in a row. Oda can come back. He can make the series end amazing. He can bring back, the things that would make the series better. But it would be a noticeable strike. Like the post time skip would be a noticeable strike up until that point in time against all of that. Yo, what's up, Khalees Wave? Is the best girl tier list happening this stream? I might have to save it. I might have to save it because the stream's already gone on for a couple hours. I might end it soon. I do have to get up at 4 a.m. I do have a tier list made though. Oh, to off-screen Carrot's death. Oh, to off-screen Miura chapters. Oh man. Just can you list some things that could possibly make Wano great, like any things you're expecting this arc? Well, a lot of the things that I was expecting, or I think that could have been good, have already gone to the point where I don't think it would make sense to implement it right now. This is so hyperbolic. Oda has not broken the plot or ruined the legacy of One Piece. Well, I mean, if you have 8 years of meh writing and debatably bad writing in a row, I don't know. I think that's definitely a mark on the legacy. Because Fishman Island, like, if you just think about it, from the post time skip, Fishman Island, Punk Hazard, Dressrosa, Zoe, Whole Cake Island, and Wano. I mean, that's pretty bad. Pretty bad. 9:55 is hitting this Wednesday. Hey, there we go. How mad would you be if One Piece is like the scroll from Kung Fu Panda? What I haven't actually seen Kung Fu Panda, so I don't really know what it is. One issue I have with the Katakuri fight is that Luffy didn't get a scar from the abdomen shot. Would you like it more if he suffered a permanent scar? Um, I would have liked it if the injuries had mattered at all. If those injuries had made any difference whatsoever, that would have been amazing. For the type of injury that Luffy got there, that should be like that could have been a shining moment for Chopper. Like, because I mean, Luffy should technically have been dead. Really, logically, he should have essentially been dead, and that could have been something that like was like a dynamic for Chopper to overcome. Because I mean, Law has done more for Luffy as a doctor than Chopper has in the how long has Chopper been with the crew year wise? It's got to be, it's over like 12 years at this point, 14 years. Law's done more for Luffy than Chopper has in the entirety of his time with the Straw Hats. The wound could have been a scar. It could have been like a section of worry for the crew. You know, oh man, it could have been so good. I know, Yak. I know. Why do I always look so sad? Because people love asking me questions about things that I don't like about One Piece, so it always makes me sad. Christian says, but I enjoyed Whole Cake Island a lot, and Wano's okay. Well, as I said before, I think Wano's so far it's the worst arc in the series, and Whole Cake Island was so bad. I mean, it's like two crap arcs after another. I mean, just I mean, it's not so good. Do I think the off-screening of Wano is really hurting the arc? Yes. I don't think there's actually a debate about that. I think you could definitively say the off-screening of things is hurting the arc because off-screening, and I've said this before, off-screening in itself is fine. You can off-screen stuff, but what's important is that if you are off-screening something that is interesting, replace it with something that is as interesting or more interesting than what you're off-screening. And everything that is being off-screened is being substituted by boring exposition. So it's really really noticeable. Really noticeable. What's up, Trill? What do I think about Law dying this arc? Law dying this arc is kind of meaningless to me unless the relationship between Law and the crew is actually developed to a point where it would logically matter. Because all in all, if Law died this arc and the Straw Hats were absolutely devastated about it, it wouldn't really make any sense. It would feel as fake as Pedro dying. You know, like there actually has to be like a character connection. Law doesn't really have that many connections with the Straw Hats outside of them just, working together. If Law died, it should be for a heavy emotional impact. And right now, I feel like that's kind of lacking. Why go on Dustin's channel? No. No. Bro, what do I like about Wano? Well, What I like about Wano is that I like that there have been a bunch of ideas that had the potential to be amazing. I liked Kaido's reveal. I liked the Blackbeard chapter. And I've liked some of the ideas, but most of it I do not like because it basically nothing has ended in a good way. Great ideas have been introduced only to fall apart. Hokage Island has issues, but I think your hate of it has to do with Sanji, to be honest. Sanji's part of it, but I'm defending Sanji with my hate. People don't understand that. Like, I was literally have been arguing that Sanji deserved so much better than what he did. If I if I was arguing from the perspective I just hate Sanji and I wish the worst for him, I would be jumping for joy. Because Hokage Island was awful for Sanji. But I wanted good stuff. So I'm pissed off. Plus, the entire arc's a mess. Hey, Dritz, would you consider buying the deluxe editions of Berserk? Yeah, once I start making some bread, they're mine. What do you think about my boy, the GOAT Sabo and the Revs? Uh, I don't hate Sabo, but I feel like Sabo, he needs way more screen time because right now he's like this personalityless, this supportive older brother that is living in the large shadow cast by Ace. Like Sabo during like the flashback between Ace, Luffy, Sabo. Sabo was awesome. I like Sabo there. He fit a niche role and he was dope. Sabo just feels like a retcon of Ace right now. He doesn't really have many motivations or ambitions. Like he's in the revolutionaries, but we don't really get to see any of his passion. He's just kind of doing stuff. Um just I don't think Sabo's it. Are you okay with Wano being a 5-year arc? That's a really, really long arc. I mean, depends on how it's executed. There's always room for it to be amazing if it's a 5-year arc. There's no point trying to convince you your mind is made up. I could say the same thing about you, Christian. So quid pro quo. Now we're in this loop. There's thoughts on Kinemon entry tomorrow and their placing on the power scaling. Even though I do not like Kinemon, I am willing to suspend my suspension of disbelief at him shitting his pants at seeing Doflamingo to put him as a fairly strong individual. I feel like Shutamaru is below commander level, but he can tussle with commanders. Which is why he tied with Inuarashi, and Inuarashi and Nekomamushi both couldn't do shit to Jack. I think Kinemon's probably weaker than them due to the fact that they've had time to grow and grow. Kinemon's probably just below them by a little bit, but not by much. What aspects of Marineford make it your favorite arc since Oda thinks Wano will blow Marineford out of the water? What are your thoughts for Wano's Big War? The best part of Marineford was that it had, literally, this is the best part of it. There was an emotional attachment to the outcome of what was going to happen. Ace's life was on the line, and Ace is Luffy's brother, and they've had meetings before that, and we saw how Ace was defeated. And there was all this buildup and all of these things Luffy had to go through just to try to see if he could save Ace's life. And in the midst of it, we have all of these third parties and their own aspirations and things involved with it. And it was amazing. And then it ended in a tragedy. Marineford would not be anywhere near as good if Ace actually got saved and he lived. The fact that Marineford was a tragedy is the best part of it because it hit on an emotional level that, I mean, it's literally the high of One Piece. Is what made One Piece in the fandom. No, I actually understand the problems with the arc. You were just spinning it out of proportion in the context of the arc itself. I could literally just say the exact same thing, Christian. I think you are completely underselling the major aspects and problems with that arc, and you just like it because you like stuff. Because if you think a Whole Cake Island is enjoyable, sure, I can't tell you you're right or wrong if you think it's enjoyable. But if you're talking about the writing quality of the arc, I think you're objectively wrong in saying that Whole Cake Island is great. Do I think Nekomamushi and Inuarashi needed to tag team Jack? Well, yeah, I do. I do. I think if in Zou they had decided to work together, they would have beaten Jack eventually. Maybe they wouldn't have beaten Jack, but they would have gotten close. But the fact that their egos got in the way of them helping each other should be something that is a downfall. Like that should make them feel guilty. It's because they didn't fight together against a common enemy that their people suffered because of them. It's basically their fault. They didn't even try to work together because they hate each other so much. But I think now that they've lost 2 limbs each, one complementary, one leg, one arm, I feel like for their characters, it should be like a point of like resolve for them where like they realize what they should do to win and everything's on the line and Wano, all of the people they care for, it's everything's on the line again. Get redemption, fight together, and beat Jack. But they have like complementary deficiencies. Is what I think. When are you going to watch Stampede? I don't know if I'm going to watch Stampede. I might not. I'll definitely be late on it though. We can talk about it more in VC. There is more than one school of writing, and Oda tried something different. Oda's allowed to try whatever he wants to try, but I think it failed. Trent Money. Trent Money, my man. Yo, what's going on, Trent? Welcome to the Drag Down stream. Who do I want Smoothie to fight in Wano? For some reason, Smoothie versus Zoro sounds lame. I don't even know if I want Smoothie to fight anyone at this point. I feel like I don't even know if it's a possibility for Smoothie to fight someone, legitimately. I feel like she's probably going to be in a battle off screen. And if I'm proven wrong, I'll be happy, but at the same time confused. But that's where my current headcanon is right now. You have to watch Stampede Dritz LL Stop. Why do I have to watch it? Yo, Vulture, my man. What's going on, man? If Oda dies, do you think One Piece would be continued because of the demand? I think that in the unlikely event that Oda would die. Knock on wood. I don't want him to die at all. Um, I think much like how Robert Jordan had like someone ended up finishing the Wheel of Time, which was Brandon Sanderson, who was chosen by his wife to finish the story because Brandon understood the series so well and had written articles about it. I feel like there would probably be made an heir apparent to Oda, either by someone close to him in his family, or if Oda himself had the foresight to write it down in his dying moments. Like if Oda realized that, I'm dying and I want someone to finish my work, I think Oda would choose a successor. How much would you value interactions between the strats reflecting the happenings of each arc? Well, it's not like they have to like talk to each other about the inner dynamics of every single arc, but there should be meaningful interactions between a group of 10. I mean, the strats feel more stranger than they do family. Except for a few of them who have been together since the beginning, but like there are certainly outcasts to the group. But it'd be interactions are always good. Interactions are always good. Because at this point, I think Nami won't talk to Tama about Luffy being Ace's bro. It'll probably be mentioned off screen at this point. Favorite One Piece film? Strong World. But I think Luffy should die at the end of the series. I mean, I think he could live or die. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer there. Um, it's whatever you want it to be and how you do it. I think that Luffy will live, given how I interpret the series, but it's neither right or wrong to do it. How would you feel if Oda admitted that he's just trying to get the manga done and then will fill in the rest with accessory writing every month, let's say? I would feel validated and relieved while being disappointed. Because that means I would know that everything I've been saying was said for a meaning. It would be the same thing if Oda proved me wrong. Like, deep down inside, I just want Oda to just go back to the way things were. And then I will be a completely happy boy. I don't want to be right, but if I end up being right somehow, let's say, then it's like depression, but it's like I don't have to worry anymore. Like I don't have to have any hope. It's the fact that I'm hoping I'm wrong that's keeping me attached. So I want to be wrong. That's why I have hope for things to be better. But if you take away my hope, then it's easier to swallow. Thoughts on Straw Hats being killed off at some point? I like the idea. I like the idea. Where would you power scale Zoro and Sanji after Wano? Well, what I think is going to happen is that after Wano, I think they'll be commander level. I don't know what level of commander they'll be, but they'll be commander level. Why do I think Oda's quality has changed? I've said this before, but I feel like Oda had certain things planned out, but there's a difference between having a plan and then sacrificing things you want to happen in the series to make that plan go smoothly. I've said this before. I think Oda has a hard time compromising on his creative talent to write a story, which is why a lot of the arcs in One Piece post time skip are actually combinations of multiple arc ideas. Like Punk Hazard was supposed to be two arcs, Dressrosa was supposed to be at least two arcs, I think Whole Cake Island was supposed to be multiple arcs, and I think Wano is multiple arcs combined into one. I feel like Oda has a hard time letting go of ideas, but he wants to do them, so he just combines them and just sees how they see how they work out. I also think it's the natural issue, and every series has it. It's not just One Piece. Every series has this difficulty because whenever you start a book idea or a series idea, you don't have the dynamics of how it's going to end completely figured out. It's really hard because whenever you are making a series from the beginning, you have the type of story you want to do. So, as an example, I want to write an epic fantasy about someone finding the meaning of life or finding for themselves what the meaning of life is. I know certain parts of the series that I want to get to, but I don't know and I don't have everything figured out on how I'm going to get to that point. Whenever you get to a certain point in a series, writing it to end, especially in an epic fantasy, which is what One Piece is, it is very, very hard to do unless you spend excessive amounts of time outlining everything and then having it gone over by multiple people to check for errors. Epic fantasies are so large in scope that the ending of it actually has to be better than the beginning or close to it for it to be satisfying. Because if you are building a world, if your world is huge, it is hard to actually control it as you get later into the series because you have to introduce more and more and more stuff. Like for Brandon Sanderson, sometimes the world is too big for Brandon to handle, and it shows. I think the same is happening with One Piece, where the world building is actually serving the opposite role, and it's hurting the series more than it's helping it, because it's simply too much to try to fit into the time period of life Oda has to live. Oda can only do so much at so much period of time, and he has so many ideas he wants to get out that you want to get it, so you just put it in there. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, like, it's easier to write One Piece. You have more creative liberty when you're at the beginning of the series, and you can write whatever you want to do. Luffy's gonna get all of these, these Nakama. All right, I'll do that one arc at a time, and they'll have fun on this adventure. And I'll even have a couple arcs like I throw in there just to fuck around. I'll have the Davy back arc. I'll have Thriller Bark. I can just fuck around in these arcs, and it's whatever. I can explore these liberties. But when you're getting to the actual aspect of Luffy fulfilling his dream and becoming what he wants to be, that is a serious undertaking. Serious undertaking. That's literally the emotional payoff of everything that you're working for. So it has to be handled with care. And I don't think it's been handled with care. Is there anything that can make you prefer Robin over Nami? I mean, yeah. I mean, at a certain point in the series, Boa Hancock was in the running to be my favorite female character. And then Boa basically got demolished by a bulldozer. Robin, by proxy, got demolished. If Robin was more interactive in the story and was a more in-depth character, she'd be there. Robin has the disadvantage of not being a quote unquote, like, she's not like one of the main characters. She's not one of, as Oda calls, triggers of One Piece. And it shows. Do you think that he is doing this because it's a manga? If he did it another way or another form of literature, he wouldn't make it feel rushed. Well, writing it in a book would give him more time to actually do stuff because, I mean, when you're writing a book, you still outline, but you don't have to, like, there's no deadline. You just write your books and then if you publish them, like, you have deadlines. Like, I got a year or 2 years to make one book out of however many books you want to write. Like Robert Jordan had like fucking 15 books for the Wheel of Time. And a lot of them were just absolutely amazing from what I've heard. I actually want to read them. But books are easier to get that stuff done. Christian says, I have my arc ideas sketched out. The ending is set as well, but I keep on adding things and I feel like it will change the arc order and the ideas in them. Yep, that's what we call that's you think of new things. It's what humans do. You have a story set out and then you think of, oh, what if I put this in here? That seems like it'd be pretty cool. I want to add that. And then you're like, oh wait, how does that fit in with the other arcs? And is that going to be a problem? How long is it going to take me to finish this? That's what happens. Who are the triggers? In Oda's words, the triggers of One Piece are Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. Those are the three triggers of One Piece, which were the driving factors. With, if you look at it, they're the driving factors for why he made the series he did. It was largely supposed to be focused on those characters in the shows. Luffy and Nami are obviously the hero and heroine, and that's why Zoro gets much more spotlight and much more love than someone like Sanji does. Oda has favorites. All authors have favorite characters. Those are Oda's favorite characters. And it's very, very evident that that is the case. There's no debate. Am I concerned about how Oda's going to handle Emu? Um, I'm not too worried about it right now because it seems like it might be something in the distant future. But when we get to it, we'll see. It depends on what happens in the story now. So I'm reserving the right for Oda to do it well. So I'm going to choose the optimistic side of it rather than the pessimistic side until I have reason to doubt it being done well, which people don't understand. Heading into Wano, I wasn't like I gave the series I gave Wano what how many dozens of chapters before I started just absolutely went ham on it. Like I was like, okay, this could have been done better, that could have been done better. This is disappointing. When are we gonna get to the tone? And then after with 46 chapters, I've had enough. So I do have patience and I do have optimism, but whenever my optimism is ruined in a manner that I think is reasonable, I let it be known. Thoughts on a Straw Hat being killed off? I approve of it. I approve of it. You'll see you later, Michael. How would I handle the Big Mom and Kaido alliance? Wow. That's a big undertaking. Um, it's kind of hard to say because I don't know what other aspects of the story Oda has in store. How I would handle it changes greatly upon whether or not Oda wants them to die in this arc or only one or two. But if he loves Nami so much that he's reduced her to fan service only post time skip, yep, and that's what happens a lot. You'll find that great. You'll find that a lot in manga where like the heroines get lewd the most. Like the author lewds their favorite female the most. So you think Oda's reaching the Kishimoto Fourth Great Ninja War? Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Yeah, I think so. Which straw do you think would be the best one to die? Best. But see, like, if a Straw Hat dies, like it has to be massively important to another character, and a lot of like the lesser Straw Hats don't have that build up. The best one to die would be Usopp, because Usopp's been around since near the beginning, and he has the highest emotional impact outside of the three triggers to the main triggers. Usopp is a very important person to Nami and to Zoro. They all have their connections together, and he had a major moment with Luffy. Usopp would be the best person to die. By far. No better choice. Who I think is the worst Straw Hat? Sanji. I think is the worst Straw Hat, followed by Brook. Ugh. Rumor has it the ending of One Piece is on the deep web. There's always been those rumors. That none of them have really ended up being true. I've seen fake spoilers for the long term series for like every year for the past 3 years, and they've all been absolutely ridiculous. What do you hate about post time skip compared to pre time skip? Uh, Pre time skip the characters mattered. Post time skip the main characters do not matter that much. It's more about the goal of the series than it is the people involved. Tell Brago you hate Sanji. Brago should know fully well by now that I despise Sanji. What mystery do you think should have already been solved in One Piece? I don't really know. It's not. I'm not mad that we haven't gotten more answers. Like it's whatever, dude. Execution is better than just like everything else. Execution matters more than ideas. So it's whatever. It's like I'm not. There's not like one mystery that should have been answered by now over the other. It just matters how you implement what you have in the story. Do I think I'm a better writer than Oda? No. I said before, I am not nearly as creative as a writer as Oda, but I have an analytical mind that I think I would be a good editor for a series to help balance out the quality of it. Every writer thinks what they're thinking. Like, that's why you need more opinions than just yourself whenever you're doing something. What aspects of Oda's writing do you think has gone down the most? Emotion based writing as well as character based writing. Because one of the things I feel like Oda struggled to adapt it to the post time skip and the expectations that are supposed to be there. Because the characters are supposed to be the most important part of your story, up there with conflict, and that's not the case with One Piece right now. People are still living based off of their what they liked in the pre time skip rather than what they're seeing in the post. I think. Do I think Oda will make Sanji kick a woman? If Oda actually cares about Sanji as a character, he should have him kick a woman. What was the catalyst that made you hate Sanji? So I'll give you a little history here. I do not like archetype of characters that are based on Sanji. The perv character who was never meant to be like a romantic interest, but he just pervs on people for the sake of fulfilling some type of sick, sadistic fetish for viewers is not a character that I typically like. They're almost never done well, so I didn't like Sanji from the get go. He did have a good arc though, but the Baratie was a good arc. I like that arc. That's a great arc. It's one of my favorites, actually. Ironically enough, that's one of my favorite arcs in the series. Um, but Enies Lobby is the beginning of the fall of Sanji's character into the points of symptom to the. There's no redeeming. People defend Enies Lobby despite the fact that the implications are quite clear about why Sanji is a bad character. Sanji neither learns from past decisions, past events, and he is a morally corrupt character that is portrayed to be right. That's my main issue with Sanji. It would be different if there was a villain that mirrored Sanji, but he was put into the wrong. The issue I take with Sanji is that he is viewed as being morally correct and right, and it's wrong, and I disagree with it. And he just continually gets dragged through the dumpster, despite the fact that Sanji he deserves so much better than what Oda has done to him. So much better. Like, he had infinite potential, and now he's basically a joke. Do you write, Drizzy? Yeah, I write here and there. Not a lot, but I'm trying to come up with my own story, Trent. What arc got you invested into the series? Enies Lobby. You want to be an editor on my comic? Can't pay you though? Yeah, sure. If you actually think I'd provide something to your comic, Christian, I wouldn't mind doing it for you. Why don't you have discussion streams with others like Brago and Virgo do? I mean, I can. I just don't because normally they're not around, and I don't know. I don't know. I should though, probably, right? Does that mean you didn't like Brock from Pokemon? I didn't really watch Pokemon, so no comment on Brock. If you somehow knew Japanese and were offered to become one of Oda's editors, would you do it? Yeah, hell yeah. Why wouldn't I? How would you have done Fishman Island? Would you have had Arlong return or develop Fisher Tiger's raid of Mary Joa? I just like here's the thing, like for the intent, because like the intent of Fishman Island was supposed to be to display the Straw Hats quote unquote strengths in a manner that wasn't particularly like dramatic and to set up future arcs. Arcs that do not have well established villains they don't really fare well. So, in the essence of Hody being a bad villain, it should have been a more heavily focused character arc between the Straw Hats. Because a dynamic that is just being like completely strong, like if the Straw Hats just got back from a time skip, the main focus from the audience is on those characters that have been away for 2 years, not on some over the top crybaby princess like Shirahoshi. And I don't even hate Shirahoshi, but she was just not it. Like, as far as princess characters go, I feel like there were a lot of ideas of Shirahoshi that, if changed slightly, would have made her a more likable character. But Fishman Island should have been more focused on the characters that the people had been away from a lot. It could have been a very character interaction intensive arc rather than just Straw Hats end up at new place and just fix everything again. Thoughts on the red line theory? It's a good idea. Why do you think King still likes Sanji? He said he liked him more than Zoro because he didn't use any equipment, but Sanji somehow using something other than his body. That's what Cole uses to justify his like for him. The fact of the matter is that whenever you like a character, you find something of yourself in that character. King, I actually think, finds himself more suited to Sanji because he sees things in Sanji that he himself doesn't have. That's what it tends to be. Whenever you see characters, you see things that you don't have in that character and you idolize it to a degree. King is a pervert just like Sanji. I imagine that actually kind of appeals to King, and Sanji is like I can't say for sure, but what Sanji is what men think is charming in a person. Like, the chivalrous, over the top guy. A lot of men would want to be that way in the ideas of gaining women. Sanji started out as a likable character, though. Sanji started out as a likable character. I just didn't like the archetype of a character he was. But as you start to like a character more, you also start to defend. You also start to defend them more. So it's convoluted. Cole's opinions on Sanji have definitely been warped by the community's opinions of Sanji. The back and forth. What's your rating of the Arlong arc? It's in my top 5. I give that like a. I don't know what. Well, I'll give it out of a rating, but it's in my top 5 favorite One Piece arcs. Did Oda drop the ball when Rayleigh didn't acknowledge Ace before and after death? Why didn't Roger step in to save him? Good question. I do not know. Why didn't Roger step in to save him? Rayleigh, I assume is what you meant there. We don't know. Hopefully that's something that gets fleshed out in the future. It could be that literally no one knew that was. Maybe Roger didn't tell anyone that he had a kid. Basically a family. Seems weird to do, but that's something that we don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. I can't explain that or justify it without knowing more information. I love the smell of this grape. Good apple. That could also be part of it, parkour. That could be part of it. I mean, it's a multifaceted thing. There's probably a lot of things that King now likes about Sanji. But once you start liking a character, the general reaction to liking a character is to never stop liking said character. So even if Sanji does things that are bad or aren't good, or things happen in the story that people think shouldn't happen to Sanji, like, I think Sanji deserved better as a character in the attempts of making him, better in my eyes. Sanji fans will defend that because they don't want to admit anything's wrong with the character they like. Which I think is kind of like a fallacy. There's always flaws to characters. Like, deep down inside, I want to like Sanji, so I want certain things to happen to him to propel his character to a state that would be acceptable for me. But if he keeps getting dragged through the mud by the author, it negatively reflects on said character. What do you think about Zoro just taking a sword because he was offered it pre-time skip? He cared for his swords. Well, Nicholas, I think this could have been handled better if previous events in Wano were described in better detail, because the reality situation is kind of like this. Nothing that Hiyori told Zoro isn't something that Gyukimaru repeated exactly to Zoro about the legacy of Ryuma and how the kingdom went down after that, yada yada. Zoro was told the exact same thing by Gyukimaru, but he said okay whenever Hiyori did it. So logically, from a writing perspective, the only reason you would do that is like how you would do it in real life, right? A stranger, or it can go both ways. If someone you know that's close to you tells you did something wrong, you're like, no, I didn't. But if someone else tells you the same information, it's easier to digest. If the relationship between Hiyori and Zoro was more defined and more fleshed out instead of being this hollow husk of a shell of a relationship that they have, it would make more sense for Zoro to see it from a perspective and possibly consider it if he really cared. Like if Zoro actually cared about her well-being and her what she thought, and there was time taken out to make that apparent, it would be more feasible. Maybe Zoro's more like, okay, we'll see. Okay, maybe. It would make it more easier to swallow, but considering that the relationship built between Hiyori and Zoro is like laughable at best, it just comes off as forced. It's not guaranteed Zoro will give up the sword, but still, it's not so bad. Will I get a Nami body pillow? No. Do you think it's okay for Luffy to be able to clash with Yonkos, but not really be able to be the one-on-one at the end of Wano? Well, it depends on how strong Luffy gets. I think by the end of Wano, Luffy should be able to like clash with them to the point where he doesn't get bodied instantly. Um, I think that'll be fine. I don't know what you were expecting from Sanji and Hokage Island. I was expecting a revolution of Sanji's character, and I was expecting him to get highlights that he deserved, things that improved his character, motivation changes for Sanji, realization of his dreams. There are so many things that could have gone right with Hokage Island that just did not go well with Sanji. It's okay for characters to make mistakes as long as they have redemption and acknowledge their faults. Will I ever pick up Hunter x Hunter again? Yeah, it's possible. Anything's possible. I don't even hate Hunter x Hunter. It's just like I had a negative first reading experience with it. I'm willing to read it again. Maybe my opinion will change. Who's to say? Not me. Would you use a Nami body pillow if someone sent you one? Yes. If someone sent me one, I would be obligated to use it. But man, like in a year's time after I've had my job for a while, I could probably get my own place and I could make a weeb room. Oh man. I wonder how much Berserk paraphernalia, like merchandise there is. Because I would get a lot of Berserk stuff and a lot of Nami stuff. But I think the red line theory confirms. I mean, confirm is such like a premature thing to say, Christian. I think it's a good idea. I just don't know like if it's going to come true. There have been a lot of the ideas that make logical sense that have ended up not being true. So it's a great idea. Is what I'll say. I love the new swagger you have ever since you got the new job. Financial security really helps Dritz. I mean, I think I'm virtually the same, to be honest. Would you buy my designed Nami pillow that some online store wanted me to make? Yes. Do you have Arlong Park over the Baratie? Yes, I do. Arlong Park is my number 3 favorite arc. What series would you consider covering on the channel if One Piece were to end today besides Berserk? Unordinary. Probably a couple webtoons. As far as like mainstream manga go, if I got back into Attack on Titan, I would consider doing that. If I got back into it, uh, probably would do some Stormlight Archive. Honestly, Vivi and Robin fans used to war in the fandom back when Robin took her spot. Do you think Vivi fans will finally have the last laugh of Vivi being MVP and Robin's character reduced to nothing? Uh, yeah. I mean, that could happen for sure. It's kind of hard to say because like Robin fans are in complete denial that Robin has actually withered as a character, and like it. And I know for a fact I've talked to too many Robin fans that think that Robin is the best thing in One Piece, bar none, even post time skip. So if you talk to a delusional fan, there's nothing you can do to win them over. What I think about Odin's death swords, how they emphasize that Odin's swords cut Kaido, not him. I feel like Whitebeard, Shanks, and Mihawk all could have cut Odin. Why only Odin? I don't know. That's a good question, Nicholas. We'll have to find out. I You bring up good questions. That's hard to say. We have to wait, honestly. Sanjay's Nami is just his worst nightmare. I mean, it is because like that's like if you want to ruin Nami as a character, that'd be the like just like completely punish Nami for existing in the series. That's what you would do. You do on Ordinary and Stormlight anyway. I mean, creating content that I would find satisfactory takes so much time, man. So you're saying I should take the offer of 5% commission for every pillow sold? I mean, is there any downside to it, Looney? I mean, it just sounds like bank to me. Do a design, get some money based off of it. Sounds fine. What do I think about an information technology boot camp as opposed to getting a second degree in comp sci or whatever? Boot camps are risk versus reward. Um, I don't know. Like it depends on the type of boot camp you're going to. I have heard horror stories and I have heard good things about boot camps. Um, Honestly, I think that just a degree would be better overall. I think a degree would be an easier gateway, but boot camps do help as well. Then why do you have Robin at number two in your best girl list? Because there's not really much competition. Robin was really, really great, much like many of the other characters. They used to be pretty good. Chris, I'm thinking about getting a cat. Any advice where I should be looking for to make sure I get a good cat? Any advice in general? Well, Snickers isn't even my cat. That's Cody's cat. I just have known Snickers since I was a kid. So she's basically like I mean, she spends most of her day with me whenever I'm home. But that's Cody's cat through and through. Make no mistakes about it. But I mean, he takes care of her too. I just like pet her and hang out with her and play with her. But look for a good cat. It depends on what you kind of want. Getting cats while they're young is preferable because then they grow up with you and they have a greater dependence on you. Younger cats are usually better, I think. Um, mm, if you want to, it depends on the type of cat you want. If you want a playful cat, you'll be in for more work. But if you want a cat that just chills, I don't know. It depends on you. Depends on you. Do you put Enies Lobby with Water 7? I do. I combine them. You're in Florida, but you came from Pennsylvania. How was the move? When did you move? I moved August 17th of last year. How was the drive? The drive wasn't that bad. It was like 18 hours. I mean, I was tired as shit, but I wasn't the one driving. I was in the passenger seat. It was not that bad. It was tired, but that's what you expect. Wasn't that bad. And yeah, so there's that. There's who wins in a fight, Akainu versus Big Mom. I think Akainu wins. especially given Kainu's Devil Fruit. I think it's kind of like a counter. Do I see Queen returning to the prison and Luffy low diffs Queen? No, no. I think that Queen never would have left if the intent was to have Queen be defeated by Luffy. How do you take care of a cat? I mean, cats mostly just take care of themselves. You feed them in the morning. You get a litter box. You have to give them love. Cats, most cats, your average cat is starved for attention. They want attention 24/7. That's why they're always around you. Same with dogs. Dogs love attention. Animals in general can't live without love. So, I think I could survive a 100 feet fall. I mean, my ass is fat enough. I probably could. Did you have to take a lot of high level maths for IT? Not really. I mean, the highest math I took was Calc 2. But I think Judge was a wasted character. Judge is the best Vinsmoke out of the new ones. I think a wasted character was Reiju and Ichiji at this point. But yeah, there could have been more done with Judge. Taekwon says Big Mom wins against Akainu. Well, Taekwon thinks that Big Mom is the strongest Yonko, so of course he does. Can't wait to get a cat. Dogs seem like too much work. I mean, dogs are more work. Dogs are more work. Cats are less work, but still work. You didn't even get to advanced calculus. Shake my head. Yeah, all I needed was Calc 2, man. I did like algebra. Another I forget what the other math was, but I did another math. I did Calc 2, and I was good. Oh, I did what was it? I think I did 3 calc courses. One of them might have been a prep course. I don't know. The algebra course was absolutely useless though. I got like a 98 in it and I didn't do anything. I don't know why they didn't me take it. I had already done algebra in high school. I don't know why the fuck I had to take it, but whatever. What about Judge's neck? Top tier. Although, like, I feel like necks are getting randomly inflated now. Everyone has a super huge, thick neck. Who you got between Mihawk and Akainu? I think Akainu wins against Mihawk, and I'm a Mihawk stan. It's very close, but the reason I say that is I think that Akainu's at his apex right now. If Akainu still had more room to grow, I would give it to Mihawk. But I think Akainu is basically at the height of his power right now, and I think that Akainu at the height of his power is insanely strong, and I think that makes him stronger than Mihawk. I had to take calculus this semester, and that's it for math. Yeah, calc's not so bad. I didn't really like calc 2 because I had a Polish teacher who didn't really know how to solve the problems. But outside of that, I mean, calc was fine. I did cheat on the final though. I'll see you later, parkour. I hope you stay for a while to put out more content. I'm getting to the point where I need more realistic points of views. Lately, King has regressed. Tekking has bad opinions, in my opinion, and Roger is meh. Oh my god. You roasting the boys like that. You watch Brago, Nicholas? I think Brago is the best content creator for One Piece at this point in time. By the way, Dritz, care to enlighten me with why a kind of devil fruit is a counter to Big Mom? Well, this is based on what I think is our current knowledge. This could easily prove to be false. But so far, it's like there's no reason for this to not to have happened, really. From what we've seen, Big Mom has never used Haki with her homies. Homies aren't like living organisms. And like to the sense where like, that's why like, they can't use like Electro, the homies didn't use Electro, shit like that. Napoleon never had Haki on it ever. Also, Prometheus and Zeus are useless against Akainu. They don't do anything. And so I'm assuming Big Mom has some super powerful attacks in her Devil Fruit that make up for it, but based on what I know right now, Akainu's Logia Fruit does very, very, very well against Big Mom, especially because I think Akainu's attacking power should be so strong to the point that I don't think there should really be a defense against it. Like, I don't think Big Mom can just tank Akainu's hits and not be hurt. She might be able to like Whitebeard through them where like, she gets hurt, but she's like a tank and she goes and grabs Akainu and like does some damage. But I think that Akainu's attacking power is so strong that Big Mom's natural defense isn't. She can't just rely on that against Akainu. Like Akainu's not gonna have to like learn mid fight how to hurt Big Mom. I think Akainu can already devastate anyone that he can get a clean hit on, or he should be. He should be able to. Ever notice the Sun Wukong parallels with Nami? I have. I have. I have a headcanon that I hope that goes somewhere in relation to Luffy, if you know what I mean. But yeah. We've seen Big Mom use Haki, but not on her homies. It's never been used on Napoleon. It was only used on her arms. What do you make of Mihawk's line when he said he merely wanted to see the tradition between himself and Whitebeard? I said this in King's stream. I think the intention of what Mihawk was saying was comparing himself to the legacy of a man like Whitebeard. Even in his old age, Whitebeard was seen to be above the other Yonko. All of the other Yonko viewed Whitebeard as what he was in his prime, and this was even the case at Marineford. Everyone viewed Whitebeard as the pinnacle of strength. Big Mom did. Kaido did. Kaido was obsessed with it. That's why he wanted to go to Marineford, was for Whitebeard. I think it was the legacy of who Whitebeard was, because Whitebeard was basically the Pirate King. He owned the previous era. That's what Ace said. The name of the era after Roger was Whitebeard. I think Mihawk was comparing himself to that man. I generally like you in your circle the most. Hey, there we go. You elaborate on that Big Mom Electro point. I'm just saying that we've never seen Haki on any homie. Like Randolph didn't use Haki, even though like other members used Haki. Like the slime gooey brothers, they used Haki on Luffy. Randolph never used Haki, and I don't know if he was actually a mink, but he couldn't use Electro. I don't know if Electro is Haki based or not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We don't know. Probably not. Fuck it, I don't know. But Big Mom never used Haki with a homie. So it could change. Maybe I'll be wrong in the future, but I don't know. Zeus was black once because he was absorbing black weather balls. Who's to say lightning does not affect magma? It should be hotter, but it won't do anything. If you can't put Haki on it, it will not affect a Logia. Lightning is not the element counter to magma. Why do I have a kind of that high up? I get that Oda winks him a lot, but Aokiji took him to an extreme diff, and dying at Whitebeard destroyed him. I think we read the fight differently. I think if people went back and looked at the way they looked at the Katakuri and Luffy fight, Akainu was defeated. Whitebeard was portrayed to be above Akainu in the moment that he defeated him, but Akainu did way more damage to Whitebeard than Whitebeard did to Akainu. And Akainu happened to be swallowed up by the plot and just sunk into a hole, and then it came out later whenever Whitebeard wasn't around, basically. And he couldn't be stopped. Whitebeard was given the momentary W for his downfall, but if the fight had continued, I think Akainu wins. Because he took everything Whitebeard had at him, and he got up just fine. I think Whitebeard was probably still stronger at that point in time, but I also think people heavily underestimate how strong Whitebeard was during Marineford. I've said before, but I can make the argument that I think Whitebeard was the strongest Yonko during the point in time whenever he was defeated, despite being sick. And so Akainu from visible feats has the greatest feats in the series. Seriously. He fought one-on-one against a Yonko, took off that Yonko's face, put holes into him, and then walked through that Yonko's entire crew, burned Ace, killed Ace, then chased away Blackbeard, who had 2 Devil Fruits and his entire crew by himself after the war, still being hurt by Whitebeard. Didn't even have any bandages, I don't think, either. And then after that, had a 1v1 against an Admiral and won. So, from visible feats, Akainu has the best feats in the series. So, what's that? Luna headcanon? Well, the Luna headcanon is that the Sun Wukong mythology. We know that Luffy is going to ride on Zeus at some point in time, or he should, based on the Whole Cake Island dialogue. And I think that like some Wukong mythology will be combined between Luffy and Nami in Wano at some point. Also, from what I've heard, is that the people in Japan, the Japanese people think that admirals equal Yonko, and that it's only a Western idea that one is stronger than the other. That's what I've been told recently by sources. It's hard to confirm, but that's what I've been told by people who have Japanese friends. That the headcanon and the meta opinion in Japan is that admirals equal Yonko. So you have that. People who read the source material. Let's see what's in the comments here. Have I watched King of Lightning's Fairy Tale rant? Of course, that's a legendary rant video. I don't think Big Mom and Kaido will get damaged from a Squardo step. Here's what I always tell people, Anthony. Do you know how much better Whitebeard would look if Marineford was rewritten in the post time skip where Haki was a mostly fleshed out concept? Where armament Haki was a thing and the powers were kind of scaled up to look more impressive. I mean, Whitebeard's fruit is still ridiculous, the strongest of the Paramecia. If Marineford was rewritten right now, Whitebeard would look even better, and so would the admirals, and so would the first mates. If you took pre-time skip power scaling and put another Yonko in there, some of their other concepts might not have even been fleshed out to the point where they are right now. Shonen power scaling always goes up. Who's your most liked and least liked Straw Hat? Least like is Sanji. Most liked was Luffy until recently. Probably Nami right now. Why is Fairy Tail hated so much? I don't know anything about it. I don't really know much about it as well. Blair Fritz, I read a little bit of it. I think it's because it's just the story got to the point where at the height of like what it was supposed to be, it just failed. Thoughts on King of Lightning saying Gold Roger or Prime Beard can beat three admirals? No. Nope. There is only under one circumstance that I would even entertain that idea. It's your take on Blackbeard heading to Whole Cake Island, stealing the poneglyphs, and kidnapping of Pudding. It's a possibility. I've seen that headcanon walking around Blues. Here's where I kind of like go away from that. I think that Blackbeard's just going to steal everything from Luffy. Because Luffy's already doing the work. Because even if Blackbeard got other people's stuff, like let's say he got Pudding and the poneglyphs from Big Mom, he still has to go to Wano to find Kaido's stuff and then go to Elbaf. I think it's been hinted at that Robin's going to be captured again, and I think Blackbeard's the most likely suspect. For me, it seems more thematic for Blackbeard to be a scum and just wait for Luffy to get everything done and just steal it ahead of him. And that's how like Blackbeard gets to like Raftel first, quote unquote. Because I think if Blackbeard like captures Robin, Luffy would easily trade everything to get Robin back. Or maybe, and this is like an idea that I like, I would kind of like it if there was like, you know how One Piece does reruns basically of ideas where Ace was captured? I would like it if Luffy was captured by Blackbeard and the Straw Hats had to wager for him back. So like it's a reverse basically where it's like Luffy is put in Ace's position, but with Blackbeard, and the Straw Hats have to like they get like flashbacks of Marineford where it's where like they're separated from Luffy and they don't want Luffy to be away. So they work together to get Luffy back. So they trade all of their knowledge for the poneglyphs for Luffy from Blackbeard. That would be cool too. But I think Blackbeard's just going to steal everything from Luffy. Makes the most sense to me. You watch Fire Force? No, I don't, Devil Lake. I've actually heard Fire Force is heavily overrated because of the animation. I've heard that the story for Fire Force, and I can't confirm this, I've heard that it's mid, is what I've heard. Robin has to be kidnapped or held on an ultimatum. I agree. Yeah, something to that degree. Either Robin's kidnapped or Robin has to sacrifice all of her shit to get Luffy back, which would be a. If oh my god, if there was a reverse situation where if Robin was the person leading the capture like the squad to get Luffy back, and she has like if she has all of these thoughts back towards Annie's lobby whenever Luffy risked everything for the crew just to get her back, but they do that for Blackbeard. Make Robin great again. 2027. Oh, that'd be great. Something to that degree. Can Luffy beat third commanders in a one-on-one, or do you think he's still not ready for it? I think I don't like the way I have him, but I think Luffy can beat third commanders one-on-one. Did you know of a YouTuber called Seth the Programmer? Yeah, I know Seth. I don't really watch his videos, but I know of him. What if Luffy gets the incurable disease Roger had and Chopper has to find a way to cure it? That's my theory. Make the crew get more interactive with Luffy. Oh, you know how much I would fucking love it for my angst? Drit's angst in the chat. Oh, if after Wano, Luffy has to sacrifice so much shit to beat Kaido that he develops the sickness. He's just on the verge of getting ready to conquer the Grand Line, and he's hit with Roger's sickness. And it's made apparent to the crew that he has a death inducing injury, and this like Chopper can't do anything about it. He has to try and figure. There's so much pressure on Chopper to do it. The crew realizes Luffy's mortality for his dream, but Luffy plays it off. They have to worry about him. Oh my god! Then there's so many good crew moments. Oh, could you imagine Zoro talking to? Oh my fucking god! And then maybe it's the catalyst to make someone realize their feelings for someone. And God, God, so good. I would love that. Robin and Nami running point on a rescue operation would be phenomenal. Here one. You think Blackbeard will beat Luffy round one at Raftel? I think he will, because I think Blackbeard will steal Kaido's fruit and be kind of busted. I don't. I think there should only be one round in Raftel. I don't think we should follow the way I would do it. Is it would be this final climactic showdown between Blackbeard and Luffy. I don't want there to be multiple rounds where Luffy has to figure out how to beat Blackbeard after being defeated once. It should be one long, drawn out, emotional, hypest fight in the fucking series. Not the crocodile, Katakuri reruns. Both people at the height of their power, fucking taking each other on. And oh my god, Luffy's still gonna be the underdog, obviously, because Blackbeard's gonna be broken. But it's not like he has to have all these plot elements to do it. He fucking figures the shit out. Oh my god, that would be amazing. No more rounds. Just for the Blackbeard thing, make it a man-on-man fight. Mano a mano. Just don't get my hopes up like this. I'm saying. Mm. Can you keep the stream listed, Dritz? Yeah, sure. I'll keep it unlisted. Why don't you like Katakuri? I don't like Katakuri because Katakuri is a poorly written character. He is a cool character, but I think Oda tried too hard to give him everything to make him likable to the fan base without taking the time to actually properly write him. I really do want more insight on disease that crippled the Pirate King. And we're like, how dope would it be? Oh, even for this. This could lead to more stuff too, but what if Rayleigh finds out Luffy got the same disease as Roger? We get a flashback to when Roger got the disease or some shit like that. It makes Rayleigh emotional. Oh my god. Oh, so good. Because Rayleigh's awesome. Love Rayleigh. Oh. Only in your dreams, Dritz. That's why I'm so hyped about him. If you should come back with a devil fruit. I don't know about that. Do you think after the final confrontation with Blackbeard that he will become an ally when it comes to dealing with the world government? No, I think Blackbeard will die. I think Blackbeard will die. It's more than likely this wouldn't happen, but how would you feel if Zoro died before getting the title and right after Kuwena is revealed alive? No. No. I would not like that. Would you rather see Garp versus Roger or Whitebeard versus Roger in the flashback? I would rather see Garp versus Roger. I need to see some prime Garp in action, dude. Did you think the One Piece is on Raftel or somewhere else? That brings up an old JB video where it debates whether or not Crocus is lying to the Straw Hats. It's hard to say. I think it should be, but if Crocus was telling the truth, then either Nekomamushi and Arashi is lying or Crocus is lying. Do you regret not doing enough in your high school and college days? I regret not doing a specific thing in high school. College, no. I don't regret anything. Actually, I can't really see Luffy not getting that disease. Right, yeah, because Chopper has to accomplish his dream somehow. And I have a video on this. You can go watch the video. But Luffy has basically like replaced Chopper's meaning in life. It would be symbolic because he'll look also died from an incurable disease. Roger and Hiruluk were both went to the basically the mountain with the Sakura to maybe postpone the disease. Who knows? But it would be symbolic if Chopper cured the same disease that killed his father figure, but he did it to save his captain. It would be symbolic. But also, Chopper looks up to Luffy, so it would be symbolic because I think Roger and Hillock had the same disease. Gotta happen. It's gotta be an emotional thing. If not, then it's just a missed opportunity. Chris, would you agree with me that Luffy should finally respectfully reach Yonko Commander 1 level by the end of this arc, or is that still a big jump? I mean, I think he's already there, dude. Can you link me the JB theory, just please? Oh my god, I don't even know where it is. It's like an old theory. Basically, it's like where Raftel is. Basically, it's the information given to us by Crocus does not match the information given to us by Nekomushi and Urashi because they say that you don't have to sail to the end of the Grand Line to find the One Piece because all you have to do is find the 4 row poneglyphs. They say that it's after you reach the final island of uh of the Grand Line, Raftel, that you become aware of the true mystery and you have to start and go find it again. But Crocus said that One Piece is on the final island, Raftel. And that doesn't make any sense given what we know. Would you drop One Piece if Ace was somehow still alive? He got buried. The only way Ace could be quote unquote alive is if Blackbeard went and desecrated the graves of Whitebeard and Ace and brought them both back together or something. Because I'd rather if him continuously lowering his lifespan came into play rather than him getting just Roger's disease. Well, I mean, there's already like a law's quote unquote immortality surgery can already be a factor to increase Luffy's lifespan. I think Blackbeard could have multiple personalities, which is why he has more than one devil fruit. I mean, he could, but there's really no evidence for Blackbeard behaving differently. It's why do people keep asking about Luffy reaching first commander level at the end of the arc? Like he clearly is already at that level. Because the reason they ask that, Nazim, is the same reason. It's a good reason. It's because Luffy was significantly weaker than Katakuri during the fight and did not deserve the win whatsoever. There's still salt over that. And there's no clear evidence that Luffy is actually that level. I mean, he got punked by Queen a little bit despite having full use of his abilities, which I criticize because Luffy should be at first commander strength and he should be respected at that level instead of always just being like this, like Queen knows how strong Luffy is or should know, based because he read the newspapers. He should never have treated Luffy as like someone below him. He should have treated him as someone like above him, if not on his level. But the Katakuri fight is to explain why people don't think Luffy's on that level. After the fight, King didn't even think Luffy was stronger than Cracker. Is it possible that Oda simply fucked up regarding what Crocus told the Straw Hats? It could be a translation issue. I don't know. Who got between Prime Garp and Kaido? Prime Garp was matching the Pirate King. I got that Prime Garp, baby. What do you think of the two stomachs theory for Blackbeard? Two stomachs. What is that? I think I've heard of that, but what is it? He has two stomachs so he can eat two devil fruits? Anyway, it's about 10 o'clock, so I've been streaming for close to 4 hours now. So I'm actually going to end the stream. I might stream another time during the week. We'll see. And maybe during then I'll do the One Piece Best Girl tier list. Maybe I'll do that like tomorrow or the day after or something. But I do have to get going. I have to wake up in like 4 hours for work. So thanks for everyone dropping by. I will have this video unlisted if you want it. Then go to the Discord and check out the link or go to my Twitter. It'll be there. And I'll answer this last question. Did I miss your messages, Pixel? I don't think so. Maybe I did. I'm probably stupid. I don't know. Okay, Pixel, ask me a couple questions, and then I will end. This is just for Pixel. I feel bad. What would you rate Katakuri versus Luffy out of 10? 3? I think it was a botched fight. No, it's fine. End stream. Are you sure, Pixel? Okay. I'll end the stream then. Thank you all for dropping by, and you have a nice day or night wherever you are. Peace out.